The Cornhuskers. Bill Callahan leads his 2-1 Huskers into Memorial Stadium. Gone are the days of QBs just running at Nebraska. Now Joe Daly is asked to go up top. That change has seen mixed results. The Daly Show in Lincoln has had its ups and downs. One thing is sure, the hits just keep on coming. For the 2-2 Jayhawks, Adam Barman's found favorites in John Randall and Brandon Rideau. But KU wants to see improvement tonight in a special area. Kansas knows an unblemished mark was possible only if. Maybe the motivation to kickstart KU. Certainly these two teams are thinking about the present, but also with an eye on the future and with young quarterbacks. A sophomore in Adam Barman for the Jayhawks. And speaking of sophomores, yet another one for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Joe Daly. These two young and very, very talented quarterbacks will lead their teams here tonight at Memorial Stadium, which, by the way, sold out once again for the 265th straight time. Every game has been sold out here in Lincoln since 1962. With that as the backdrop, we welcome you to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln for the Cornhuskers and the Jayhawks. Well, hi again, everyone. I'm Dave Armstrong, along with J.C. Pearson. And J.C., certainly these teams have a lot of question marks, most of them on offense. Defensively, though, both of these teams are very solid.
They sure are, Dave, and they're very similar in that they're attacking, aggressive-style defenses that rely on speed, and their linebackers are the strengths of both teams. So tonight, every linebacker we see on the field is going to be big, strong, aggressive, and trying to get to the ball.
When you look at the Kansas Jayhawks, here they are at 2-2, and everybody thinking, hey, that's pretty good. Unless you're a Jayhawk, then you think, man, we should be 4-0.
And they very easily could be. Those last two games that they lost, they missed a field goal in the fourth quarter that could have won them the ball game. They've struggled with their kicking game. They've tried two kickers, Scott Webb, John Beck, and combined, they're 4 of 10. Coach Mangino says they're improving, and they better, because tonight they're going to need every point that they can get.
So how does that saying go? You can't cry over spilt milk, and that's what they're trying to do in Lawrence right now. And when we caught up with Coach Mangino, he has a look at the future.
We're a 2-2 team. That's what our record is, and that's what we deserve. We're a few plays away from probably being a 4-0 team, but that doesn't, that's not reality. The reality is that we're 2-2. But we're also playing good football and getting better, and that's the most important thing.
And that the Jayhawks are getting very much better. Now, Nebraska, they think they're getting better too. They're coming off the bye week. Joe Daly, their sophomore quarterback. It's been good Joe, it's been bad Joe at times.
Well, Joe has proven to everyone that he can run this offense. He's got a strong arm. He can make all the throws, the short throws and the deep throws, very accurate at times. But the one knock on Joe Daly and the one concern has been interceptions. He has more interceptions than he has touchdowns. And Coach Callahan told us that the biggest concern they have about Joe Daly is his decision making. He has got to make better decisions.
Certainly they've made great decisions to start the game. Those 15 scripted plays to begin things have worked out very well for the Huskers. Not so much, though, in the second half. That is an area that the Huskers want to improve. So how does Coach Callahan think about his new West Coast offense and how it's doing here in Lincoln?
Our team has adapted very well to the West Coast offense, and I'm really proud of our players and how receptive they've been in the transition of this offense. And we're constantly striving to get better and to improve on a daily basis. And this is the type of system that allows for that.
So Bill Callahan, knowing this team is going to go through some bumps and bruises, aren't they? With this new West Coast offense, we were talking to Corey Ross yesterday, JC, and he was saying the terminology is like learning a foreign language.
And it was for all these guys. It was entirely different from what they were accustomed to. They were that power I-back option attack. Now all of a sudden there's the blocking schemes, the passing, and everything involved, and it's really been an adjustment for them.
One of the big problems for Kansas offensively, they have not run the ball very well at all. They have a talented running back in John Randall. Now, how do they need to get him involved, and is that one of your keys for the game?
It sure is. They've got to find a way to run the ball. That's something that they have not done well all year long, but they have to do it tonight, because if they become one-dimensional against this Nebraska defense, it could make for a long day for KU. And for Nebraska, they've got to cut down their turnovers. They are averaging 4 turnovers a ball game, and it's something that Coach Callahan has talked about all week long. They've got to cut those turnovers down, and it's a big concern, and it's something they hope that they get corrected today.
And if history serves as any kind of a lesson to us all, you might want to stay tuned early in this game. Both these teams have done a lot of damage early.
They sure have, and that's something. KU's defensively, they have not had a touchdown scored on them this year in the first quarter, so that's going to be a big key to watch.
All right, we'll see if then the Nebraska Cornhuskers can get their offense cranked up against a very solid Kansas defense. Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, game day. There's not much like it. And when we come back, yes, we're talking about young quarterbacks like Daly and Barman. We're also going to talk about the history between these two fine football teams. Well, it really couldn't be more delightful. First part of October here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Memorial Stadium again jam-packed on a very, very pleasant Saturday evening here. In fact, temperature at 64 degrees and a light wind of 13 coming out of the south. John Kelly, our sideline reporter, is enjoying that good weather down on the field right now. And John, when you look at these two teams from the old Big 7, Big 8, now Big 12, a lot of history involved.
Yeah, no question as these rivals get together for the 99th consecutive year. But you know, it really hasn't been much of a rivalry. It's been all Nebraska. They have won 35 games in a row going back to 1968, including 17 straight at home. And in the last 10 games played here at Memorial Stadium, Nebraska has won by an average score of 53-9. Head coach Bill Callahan talked about the Huskers' home field advantage.
Game day here in Lincoln, Nebraska is unlike any other experience that I've been around. The fans come out early, they watch the pregame, and I've never witnessed that. I've never seen fans come out and watch the pregame warm-up like our fans do. And then they're there to greet you when you get off the bus or there at the end of the game. Good and bad, whether you win or lose for you, the home team, and also for the opponent. It's just a real class act, and it's a real classy place in that regard.
Callahan and the Huskers look to make it 36 in a row going back to 1968, Dave.
Amazing, and that 68 team for Kansas went to the Orange Bowl. So Bill Callahan, no question in my mind that Nebraska made a great choice in Callahan going over to this West Coast offense, something that they know is a work in progress. Their wins coming against Pittsburgh and Western Illinois, and a tough loss to Southern Mississippi for the Huskers. And certainly when you look at the Jayhawks and Mark Mangino in his third year guiding KU at 10-19, but a team that is really improving and at a quick rate.
They sure are, and right now they are really all buying into his system on both sides. Nebraska with Callahan and KU with Mangino, and with Mangino at KU, they've consistently scored more points every year. Now this year they're averaging 32 points a game, so that's going to be key for them today to be able to get a lot of points on the board quickly.
One of the things that plays into Nebraska's favor is if they need something else with a 35-game win streak against the Jayhawks. At night, Nebraska has been brilliant here at Memorial Stadium. In fact, in 21 night games here in Lincoln, the Huskers are 19-2.
And that's impressive, David. And really, I don't think it has anything to do with the night. It's this crowd and how tough it is here on opposing teams to play with all of this noise. It's intimidating to see all of this red. And you look around for your fans and you see just a few specks in the corner over there. It really makes you know and realize that it's you against everybody.
So back deep for Nebraska as they'll receive this opening kickoff from Johnny Beck. Tier Green, one of the running backs, and he is joined out there by Corey Ross and David Horn also back there deep. So the Huskers changing up their formation just a little bit. It had been Corey Ross returning kicks for the Huskers. Johnny Beck, he'll handle the kickoff duties for KU, and they'll bring in Webb to do their field goal kicking. And this one is underway, a high end-over-end kick. It'll send Horn back to the goal line. And Horn hit at the 7. Great coverage by the Jayhawks. And the stop is made by Jerome Kemp. So here comes Joe Daly on the attack for the Huskers. As we mentioned, certainly Joe Daly has had his brilliant moments, but he has also had some moments of throwing it away. 8 interceptions so far for this young quarterback. and rushing and passing against Pittsburgh. So far, 7 touchdown passes, but we mentioned the 8 interceptions. So Joe Daly, in these first 15 plays, the Huskers have gotten off to very quick starts. Joe Daly brings them up to the line. Corey Ross is the only setback. Now he goes in motion, an empty backfield. And a quick toss across the middle intended for Ross Pilkington, but broken up by Banks Floodman. The offensive line for the Huskers, and it's a good one, but they have a young guy, a sophomore in the middle, Kurt Mann. There's been a big change for Nebraska in the middle with Richie Incognito no longer a part of the team. He's now at Oregon. Backs and receivers, Corey Ross. He is averaging 122 yards on the ground per game. He is one of 4 very talented tailbacks. A muffed play by Daly, and now he goes out of the end zone, and that is going to be a safety. Corey Ross, Tier Green was the guy in motion. They never got him the ball.
And just a muff, like you said, Dave, they were going to try to hand off to Tier Green coming around in motion, and I don't think Joe Daly ever got the snap. The ball bounced around in the end zone, and good thing for him that he's going to go ahead. You can see the toss. It looks like it just bounced right off of his knee. Smart play by Joe Daly here to hustle and get that ball back, because if KU falls on it, that's a touchdown. Instead, it's a safety and 2 points for KU. But Joe Daly, he just lost the handle on that football.
He certainly did. Just to look like an easy toss back to Tier Green, but he lost the handle on it, and it goes through the end zone. So 2-0 lead now for the Jayhawks. We talked earlier, too, about one of the things KU would try to do is take advantage of some miscues by Nebraska, and they already have. So the Jayhawks score first, and now they'll get the ball. So Joe Daly trying to figure out what went wrong, how he lost that slippery football. Mark Mangino's got to like the turn of fortunes here. Not only the fact that they lost the ball there, but part of it too was the fact that the kick coverage was so good on the kickoff, they had Nebraska pinned back at the 7.
And that's the key, Dave. They had great kickoff coverage. Jerome Kemp hustled down the field, made the big tackle down there. They pinned Nebraska down deep. They come out and they play good defense on the first play and knock down a pass. Next thing you know, Joe Daly muffs the ball, and they've got 2 points. And like you said, the big thing now is Nebraska has to punt the ball away to Kansas, and their coverage unit has really struggled in these first 3 games for Nebraska. They've given up 2 touchdowns, but 11 returns of over 20 yards.
Now Sam Cook will punt the ball from his own 20-yard line.
Kicking for the Huskers, number 37.
So Sam Cook, the punter, will be punting from the 20 after the safety. It's the first safety by Nebraska this year.
Number 3, Charles Gordon. Number 83, Mark Simmons.
And back to get it, Charles Gordon, very talented cornerback and also wide receiver for the Jayhawks. High punt sends Gordon back to his own 21. Gordon finds a little bit of a hole, and he's still on his feet. Nice return by Charles Gordon. He gets it up across the 45, up to the 47-yard line. That's where Kansas will go on the attack. Kellen Houston finally made the stop, but a good return. So now here is Adam Barman. Already staked to a 2-0 lead. Barman, just a sophomore, has thrown for 927 yards so far this year with 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Came from the little town of Weston, Missouri. Got a couple of starts in relief of Bill Whittemore last year for the Jayhawks. Now he has the full-time duty. Randall found a seam. Randall, a saving tackle there by Nebraska's Chad Severs, and John Randall finds a big hole. That offensive line, a little shakeup for the Jayhawks. Joe Vaughn, though, no shakeup necessary there. This guy was the offensive newcomer in the Big 12 last year. He is a force in the middle. As far as the backs and receivers, you'll see a lot of Brandon Rito out of the wide receiver position, and also look a lot for John Randall and Clark Green, the running backs. Barman, he found enough time and got it to his tight end Lionel Anderson, and a good pickup on first down here. The defensive line, the front 4 for the Huskers, is certainly very, very solid. Lakeven Smith is one of the guys that anchors along with Bernard Thomas, Titus Adams. A little bit of a change, and Jay Moore is starting tonight instead of Adam Carricker. Carricker still hobbled with an injury. He will play some tonight. Second down, 4 yards to go. Randall looking for that same hole. He pushes the pile ahead, close to a first down, inside the 30, down to the 29-yard line. Defensively, Bernard Thomas, the lone senior up front for the Huskers, joined by Adams, Smith, and Moore. The linebackers are very solid, led by Barrett Ruud, who in the next week or two will become the all-time leading tackler here at Nebraska. Josh Bullock's already with a total of 12 career interceptions. He's closing in on the all-time mark in that department. Ruud trying to give Kansas a rude welcome here. First down, though, for the Jayhawks inside the 30. Batted down. Good play defensively by Jay Moore.
Jay Moore just gets his hands up, and they know that KU's going to throw the ball quickly, especially when they spread you out, and they're not going to be able to get to Barman very quickly. They're just got to get their hands up, and you can see number 44 right there on the right side of your screen. Jay Moore gets his hands up, knocks the football down, but Kansas, their offensive line, they've been challenged this week by Coach Mangino, and so far they've responded because they are blocking very well up front.
They really are. 2nd and 10 from the 28. The give to Randall, finds another hole in the middle, gets it down to the 20-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and short. Barrett Ruud finally made the stop, but if Kansas has been concerned about their rushing attack, my goodness, they've done a great job so far tonight.
They sure have, and those guys up front, Joe Vaughn, Bob Whitaker, watch those guys up front in here. They're just going to push guys to the side, give Randall some room to run because he doesn't need much. He's a shifty guy. He finds a seam in there and jumps up through the seam. Those guys right now are doing a great job firing off, something that they haven't done in the past.
Big 3rd and 2 play here from the 20. Barman rolling out, almost had it picked off. Kellen Houston almost picked it off. Pass intended for Dominic Rue. Now we'll see what the Jayhawks do. Inside the red zone this year, the Jayhawks have been very proficient. They've been in the red zone 17 times. They have 13 touchdowns and 3 field goals, and they're going to attempt a field goal here. So Mark Mangino trying to make it 5-0. Scott Webb will go for the field goal. He has it spotted at the 28-yard line, a 38-yard try. It is up, and it is no good. Another miss for the Jayhawks. They came into the game 4 of 10, make it 4 of 11, and a big reprieve for Nebraska.
It sure is, and it's got to be a big, depressing moment for Coach Mangino. He said that he's worked with these guys. He's tried to get those guys better. He can't send them away like he talked about earlier because they're here, and you can see he just pulls it to his left. It's a very makeable field goal. He's got enough leg, and right now, Scott Webb's confidence has got to be very low. Now the next time he comes up, how's he going to react? And really, Coach Mangino wanted to show some confidence by letting him kick that ball, but Webb did not come through.
If it's possible, JC, for a kicker to have the case of the yips, that might be Kansas's problem. Here comes Corey Ross. Room to run, near midfield, up to the 45. Randy Fowler and Ben Floodman finally stopped him there, but a pickup of 24.
And this is what teams do to aggressive defenses. Guys that want to fly up the field, they're going to hit you with some screens to slow you down. This time they drop the screen off to Corey Ross. He's got great room out there to run. You can see those guys out there blocking. Look at those big linemen out there. Kurt Mann, Mike Erickson, Brandon Coe, and Corey Ross gets a big gain out of it.
Terrence Nunn goes in motion. Bailey back to throw it, and it is picked off by Gordon. Charles Gordon intercepts the ball. Still on his feet. He gets up to the 47-yard line. The 9th interception thrown by Joe Daly.
And most of his interceptions, Dave, have been bad decisions. This was not a bad decision. Harrion was wide open. He just didn't throw the ball out there. He underthrew the ball and allowed Charles Gordon to come back. Going to see to the right of your screen, he just doesn't get enough arm into this ball. Harrion is wide open deep. Gordon comes back in that he was playing the flat in cover 2, and he just comes back and makes a good play on the ball.
So far, the Jayhawks with all the momentum in this game. It stopped momentarily with the missed field goal, but the Jayhawks back on the attack. Here comes Randall again, and stopped from behind by Shane Siegel.
Ball carried by Randall. Brought down by number 23.
Siegel does a good job coming off the corner. Nebraska is moving late. They're trying to bring some pressure off the corners, and they're bringing those guys down late, trying to get Barman a late look at the blitz so he doesn't have time to check off. Siegel comes off the corner and is able to run down Randall for a short gain.
John Randall just to the side of Barman, who's in the shotgun. Play action, Barman looking deep. Oh, he had it in and out of the hands of Brandon Rideau. Josh Bullocks was there with him stride for stride. A perfectly thrown ball, though, from Barman.
It was right on the money, and those are the plays that you've got to make, especially coming into a hostile territory here in Nebraska. When you have a chance to make a big play, you've got to make it. Barman puts this ball right on the money, right in the hands of Rideau, and he just drops the ball. He's their #1 receiver. He's their leading receiver, and he's a big play guy, and when you have a chance to make a big play, you've got to do it.
So 3rd and 9 for the Jayhawks. On the year, Kansas 24 of 66 on 3rd down. Wally Muhammad ran around Barman. Now Barman looking for that 1st down. I think he's going to be a little bit shy. Forced out of bounds at the 44. He needed the 43. Fabian Washington prevented, at least for the moment, the 1st down. Now let's see what Kansas does on 4th and 1.
Good effort by Barman. Nobody open downfield. Wally Muhammad getting pressure around the corner. Barman just has to pull it down, and he's trying to get to that marker. You can see he sees where it's at, but he's just a little bit short.
Brings up 4th and 1 from the 44.
So Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator of the Huskers, lining up his team defensively for a 4th and 1. Big early moment in this game. 3 of 8, the Jayhawks on 4th down. 8 guys in the box. Might have been some movement early. In fact, there was. They're going to stop this play. Kansas moved on the right side.
It took a long time for that play to run, and Barman obviously was checking off.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 55 of the offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
Tom Allers is our referee tonight.
And let's see if we can see the movement. Barman's checking off at the line of scrimmage. I thought that they were not going to snap, and you can see the guards just took off a half a second too quickly. If they hadn't have done that, they had a big play with John Randall outside on the option.
What's interesting, too, the movement on the right side, that really had very little to do with that play as it came to the left side. So now Kansas,
Back deep for the
they're going to
Huskers,
punt the
number 30,
ball now that it's
Santino
4th and 6. They'll back the ball up to the 49-yard line. Kyle Tucker back to punt. Santino Panico is back deep for the Huskers, back at his own 10-yard line. High punt. Panico calling for the fair catch, but it bounces and on into the end zone. A break for Nebraska. They'll get it at their own 20-yard line. So Nebraska, who scripts their first 15 plays, and I can't imagine the plays we've seen so far were what Bill Callahan had in mind when he gave it to the players last night. Let's see if Joe Daly now can settle down after a muff and then an interception.
Exactly. Definitely not the way they wanted to start. And like you said, you can see him right there going down that list of 15 plays. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to see exactly how the defense is going to line up, what kind of adjustments they're going to make based on formation.
1st and 10 Huskers from their own 20-yard line. 2-0 Kansas. Brandon Jackson. Nice gain on 1st down up to the 29-yard line. Nick Reed made the stop. Let's look at the Jayhawks defensively. And certainly Mark Mangino gives this defense all kinds of credit. David McMillan, one of the very solid guys in the front four for KU. The linebackers are really good. Gabriel Toomey is a guy that originally signed with Oklahoma. That's how good he is. And Charles Gordon, we've already seen him pick off a pass tonight. 2nd and 1 for Nebraska at the 29. Here comes Ross. He had to readjust the route. Enough for the first down. Now he fumbles the ball. It's loose and goes out of bounds. Let's see if they stop the initial progress, though, up to the 34-yard line. Banks Floodman and Rodney Fowler hit Corey Ross very, very hard.
And again, turning the ball over. That's the 10th time they've had the ball on the ground this season. They've only lost 4, but watch Ross right here. Theo Baines, number 20, does a great job of supporting the run right there. Ross really just trying to find a hole, and you can see Floodman just comes by. Watch Floodman, number 5. Great job of getting his helmet on that football, and it comes out. Nebraska's lucky right there that they didn't turn that ball over again.
But now it's 3rd and 1. And they're going to have to punt the football.
Ball carried by
So
Ross.
another missed opportunity for Nebraska. And boy, Kansas showing great resiliency here and taking advantage of these Nebraska miscues. They easily had the first down. A gain of 5 on the earlier play from Ross. But now on 3rd and 1 after the fumble sent the ball back to the 29. Kansas stands the test, and Bill Callahan has to be frustrated with what he has seen so far.
They're just not executing right now, and that's what he wanted to do. Just come out and execute the first 15 plays. That's why he gives it to them the night before, so they know exactly what's coming. But KU defensively, those guys are flying around and swarming to the ball.
JC, the history so far for Kansas this year, first 15 have been awesome. It's where they've struggled in the second half. Charles Gordon back to his own 21-yard line, and the punt from Sam Cook, and weaving his way through traffic up to the 34-yard line before he is stopped by Stuart Bradley. Well, Kansas, they're probably thinking a little bit like their 2-2 record. Well, it's 2-0, but it should be more than that.
Yeah, it should be, and those guys right now are playing with a lot of confidence. They weren't scared coming in here to play Nebraska anyway. They feel like they are on that same level with Nebraska, so there was no intimidation whatsoever, and they've come out and they've played well. Had some big plays early. Defensively, Charles Gordon, 2 big punt returns, and that's an area that was of concern for Nebraska was their coverage, both punt and kickoff, and so far they're continuing to struggle on the punt coverage side.
1st and 10 Jayhawks from their own 40-yard line. John Randall, nice hole again. They're really working on that right guard, between the right guard and the center right now, and it's working effectively.
They found something in that Nebraska front that they think they can take advantage of. They're just spreading them out and then running that dive right up the middle. And what Nebraska's doing, they're trying to blitz a guy off the edge, but he's not always making the play. So if he doesn't make that play, there's a gap inside that they're running through. 37 yards rushing so far for the Jayhawks. Keep this number in mind. Nebraska's given up an average of only 41 yards rushing all year. Randall doing a good job staying on his feet. Now a flag comes in late. Randall goes across midfield down to the 45. Chad Severs was the one that made the stop along with Kellen Houston. And it'll come back, though. A hold on the part of the Jayhawks. And even though they've got a holding call here, Mangino's frustrated. They're running the ball well. Watch right here. Jay Moore's going to come off the edge, but he's not able to come down flat enough and make the play. And John Randall, he gets enough yards for the first down right here, even though it's going to come back because of the holding penalty. But Mangino is definitely got to be happy with the way this offensive line has blocked so far this first quarter.
Holding, number 74 of the offense. 10 yards
hold on David Ochoa, the right guard. So it comes all the way back into Kansas territory.
But you know, Dave, they can live with that. You're going to have some holding penalties throughout a game. If they can continue to fire off and be aggressive like they have so far this first quarter, Mangino is going to be a happy guy at the end of the day because he challenged these guys. He said the loss last week was because his offensive line wasn't tough enough. They weren't physical. So he challenged those guys, and so far those guys are stepping up to that challenge.
Well, 2nd down again. Now 2nd and 8 for Barman and crew. And Barman audibleizing the line. Baycock had won when he got it away. Randall swarmed after no pickup at all. Barrett Ruud was the lead. Chad Severs and many other red shirts were there.
It's tough to run outside on this black shirt defense because they're so fast. They all flow to the ball. Barman's just going to run the option right. Watch how many red jerseys converge on the football. Look at everybody getting off blocks. Look, there's 5, 6 red jerseys right there before he gets there. Watch Barrett Ruud. This is why he's going to be their leading tackler in history right there. He fights through blocks. He jumps over guys. Wherever that football is, 38 is going to be on it.
Ruud yesterday told us one of the keys for Nebraska's defense, stop the run first, and he said we have to be sure tacklers because Randall has a lot of talent. Now 3rd and 8. Here comes the blitz. Almost picked off. Went right through the arms of Shane Siegel. The pass was intended for Lionel Anderson. And right now, Adam Barman a little bit fortunate. That one wasn't coming the other way.
And a little confused. Nebraska is moving so late. They're disguising their coverages that at the snap, Barman, he really has no idea what they're doing. Are they blitzing? Are they dropping in coverage? And that time, they came off the corner again, really messed up their blocking up front and put pressure on Barman. He throws the ball away.
Panico back at his own 15 for Nebraska, awaiting the punt of Kyle Tucker. Kansas bringing more blockers in. A little bit of a bobble. Tucker able to get it away. Panico the fair catch at the 24. No halo rule now. And the crowd wanted some sort of a penalty. Stuart Bradley was right in there, almost able to block the punt of Kyle Tucker. So the safety and the missed field goal, all of this makes it a 2-0 Kansas lead. We welcome you back to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, where Sandro DeAngelis is sitting there beside himself, literally, wondering how in the world did that one fall just shy.
And it hits the bottom. I mean, it's right dead center, but just not enough leg. Look, it bounces right off the bottom crossbar. You can see, I mean, he probably couldn't do this again if he kicked it 100 more times. It's hard to hit that bottom crossbar.
It really is.
You can see the reaction by the entire Nebraska sideline. They know how important these points are going to be today. KU has come to play.
Bill Bush, the special teams coach for the Huskers, agonizing with that short kick. John Randall bounces off the line, and a nice pickup on first down as John Randall goes around the right of that pile and gets it up to the 33-yard line.
And that's a win for KU on first down. If they can get 4 or 5 yards per crack on first down, that puts them in 2nd and 5. Then they can get into 3rd and short, but now they can afford to take a shot down the field at 2nd and 5 because 3rd and 5 is still makeable for them.
Yeah, it opens up the playbook, doesn't it?
It sure does.
So here it is, 2nd and 5. Closing seconds of the first quarter. Randall again looking at that pile. And now they converge on him with Barrett Ruud leading the way for Nebraska. A gain of only 1 or 2. It's going to bring up 3rd and short, but that will do it for the first quarter. Kansas's record remains intact, not giving up a touchdown in the first quarter of play. Nebraska's defense trying to hold solid. Mark Mangino's Jayhawks, though, at the first quarter break, have the 2-0 lead. Yeah, that's not a misprint on the score. Kansas 2, Nebraska 0 at the end of 1. So Bill Callahan, maybe he's still sticking to that same 15-play scripted plays. So certainly his defense has stood the test of time. They haven't given up anything. Nebraska, though, with the safety, and the last time a safety was scored on the Huskers, again, the Kansas Jayhawks were the opponent. So Mark Mangino's team with that early safety in the contest, and it was really predicated by the fact that their Special teams did a good job on the kick coverage on the opening kickoff that pinned Nebraska back to their own 7-yard line. Now a big third down, 3rd and 3 for KU at their own 35-yard line. They need to get it just across the 38. Barman with lots of time, and the pass is caught right at midfield. Daniel Bullocks was on the coverage, but Gary Hagans made a great catch.
Barman's pass complete.
Gary Hagans did a good job of shielding Bullocks off with his body. He runs that corner out. You can see Barman just steps into the throw, but great coverage. You can see Hagans uses that body. 6'2", 200 pounds, is able to let the ball come to his body and keep Bullocks away.
So Kansas able to convert, and now right at midfield. The fake to Randall. Barman wide open on the wing is Gary Hagans. And Hagans gets it down inside the 30, down to the 27. Back-to-back plays from Barman to Hagans.
And if KU can protect, you're going to see that Shanley came off the corner again, and they picked him up and gave Barman time to throw the ball, but it also gives his receivers time to uncover down the field, run some deeper routes, and Hagans, he comes open on that corner route again, and Barman gets the ball to him, but they're doing a good job. They came out, they started running the ball, getting that established, and now they're throwing the ball by spreading this defense out.
Very balanced attack so far for the Jayhawks. 48 yards passing, 58 yards rushing. And another pass. This one complete to Mark Simmons. And Simmons gets a pickup of 9 yards on first down inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line.
And Kansas knows that Nebraska is going to be in zone coverage because they split their linebackers out. See, there's 3 guys, and their receivers, their linebacker, he's got to cover that curl. So right now they know that they've got an advantage with Simmons, a wide receiver, being much faster than Sievers. So just throw it to him real quick, let him catch the ball, and make yards after the catch.
It was almost like 3 guys with only 2 covering. So now 2nd and a short one. And Barman says, let's leave nothing to chance here. Let's go ahead and pick up the first down, and they do, down to the 15-yard line. An impressive drive for KU.
You really haven't seen this Nebraska defense kind of play on their heels so far this year. They've always dominated the ball games on their side, but right now KU has got them guys a little on their heels. They're not quite sure what's coming. They're spread out all over the field, and that creates a lot of natural running lanes.
Barman looked like he wanted to run with it. That play was disrupted by Jay Moore.
Barman, the ball carrier.
And Barman left shaking his head.
Back by number 44.
Nebraska, they're going to bring pressure. Watch Jay Moore, number 44. He's just going to come through, and you see that Randall's the guy that's supposed to pick him up, but he just runs right by him. Their whole blocking scheme up front, their protection was mixed up, and they allowed Jay Moore to come free. The guy that's got to come to the line of scrimmage and set that pass protection is Joe Vaughn, the center. He's got to come up, and you can see him looking around right now, trying to identify where those backers are.
2nd and 15 after the loss of 5. Barman, he gets it out to Mark Simmons, but almost no gain.
To number 83, Simmons. Brought down by number 3.
Right down to the 23-yard line. Courtney Grixby and Fabian Washington were there defensively.
You can see Nebraska, they don't huddle on defense. Everybody just lines up, and they look to the line, to the sideline to find out what defense they're going to play. If they're going to play nickel, which they are right now, they're substituting, and now he's giving them the coverage.
Brett Rude last year said he was the one that kind of made the play calls defensively. He said now we have this new system, but he said invariably a couple of guys will miss the sign enough to tell them what's going on. 3rd and 17. Pass is caught by Lionel Anderson, but well shy of any first down. In fact, about 11 yards shy. And now here comes that field goal unit on again for KU.
Exactly. That's why that play, although it didn't look like very much, it didn't pick up a first down, but what it did do is it moved the ball up about 10 yards to give Webb a much easier field goal. And right now, they've gone to Johnny Beck right now. They've switched their field goal kickers. Right now, they're trying to find a guy that can come in and give them some consistency at the field goal position.
So it was Scott Webb. He already missed one, and now Johnny Beck, who's only 2 of 6. He has the stronger leg of the two. The kick is up, and it is good. The Jayhawks get a field goal. Not that that's a huge story or anything, but it has been this year for Kansas.
It is a big story.
So Johnny Beck, did he win the spot back again as the lone field goal kicker? Maybe with this kick he just might have, with the Jayhawks now leading at 5-0. Well, Mark Mangino, in talking to us earlier this week, he loves the improvement of his team, and they look solid so far here tonight. They have done a great job defensively in bottling up Nebraska, and now they get the field goal to give them a little bit of breathing room. And meanwhile, Coach Callahan is signaling his guys around him and saying, look, let's have the wake-up call. The rust from a week off, from the bye week, that should be over now. Let's get going.
Exactly, and sometimes you get that coming off of a bye week. Guys kind of get complacent. They're mentally not into it right now, and it shows. When you miss a week, guys kind of just get away from football. He gave them some days off, and right now it really looks like they're not ready to play.
Back with the kick. Tierre Green bobbles it momentarily at the 8. Now Green up across the 20, up to the 22-yard line with a flag. And that usually means something against the team that has the ball. Let's go down to John Kelly on the sideline. John?
All right, Dave, thank you very much. Well, Mark Mangino of KU is one of 5 Division I football coaches who never played college football, but you can't say he didn't pay his dues. In '91, his first job in the Big 12 as assistant coach, he took a job and was paid $8,600 a year, so he had to live in the basement of another assistant coach with his wife and 2 kids. So he has seen some hardship, and you could say he has gone from the basement to the penthouse in Big 12 football.
Yeah, no question about it. A man who learned a lot from Bill Snyder, learned a lot from Bob Stoops, and now he's bringing that knowledge with him to the University of Kansas.
With his mentality, and I know how he is, he probably could have been a real good defensive tackle, nose guard type of guy, plug up the holes and get up the field.
Corey Ross looking for some space, but there's Kansas defensively. Boy, Kansas seems to have almost every play sniffed out so far from the Huskers. Nick Reed and Kevin Kane, the linebackers, were there to stop Ross.
And defensively for Kansas, they're so fast. They're not real big. They're not real strong up front, but they run to the football. And you can see that time Kevin Kane, Nick Reed, 2 linebackers, they get outside to Corey Ross before he has a chance to really turn up field, and that's where their strength is. Those linebackers, they come downfield, they attack, and once they read it, they're going 100 miles an hour.
17 offensive plays for the Huskers, just 59 yards of offense. Ross gets it up across the 10, up to the 12-yard line. Banks Floodman brings him down there along with Charles Gordon. So the defense is not allowed a first quarter touchdown all year. In fact, now with the score 2-0 after the first quarter, I know it's 5-0 now, the Jayhawks have outscored their opponents by a score of 44-5 in the first quarter. So far, Nebraska 0 for 3 on 3rd down. It's 3rd and 4 right here. They'll have the first down. Ross Pilkington makes the catch and goes out of bounds.
They motion to trips, and they get everybody thinking they're going that way, and then Pilkington, who was in the slot, but after the motion, he's the wide guy, got a lot of room outside. He just runs that quick out on Theo Baines, catches the ball and turns it up for a first down.
Pilkington, a good story from Fort Collins, Colorado. His dad played briefly for the Huskers back in the early 70s. Brandon Jackson goes into the middle of the pile and picks up 5. And Pilkington, he grew up, though, in Colorado, a Colorado Buffaloes fan. In fact, when he was in high school, he went to a CU Nebraska game with his dad, who obviously was a Husker fan, and he was wearing a Buffalo jersey into the stadium. At halftime, the Huskers were leading by like 35 points. He looked at his dad and he said, "Dad, I want to play for the Huskers." They immediately went to the concession stand, got him a Husker jersey. He's been wearing one since. Now, briefly, he also wore a jersey of the Colorado Rockies. He was drafted out of high school to play baseball, spent 2 years in baseball, and then after a hurt elbow said, all right, now it's time for some football. Now Corey Ross picks up a good gain, and that brings up a first down for the Huskers.
And again, watch, Corey Ross is just going to look for a seam to run through. Those big linemen down there, big Seppo, number 77, Mike Erickson coming across. And again, like I said earlier, Corey Ross, he's not a real big guy, so he's tough to find in all that traffic.
Well, a drive that started inside the 10, now up to the 40-yard line. A small gain on first down of 2 by Brandon Jackson. Charlton Keith was there to make the stop. 2nd and 8 for Nebraska.
You know, this West Coast offense, when they first brought it in, everybody thought that they were just going to throw the ball all over the field. They were going to abandon the running game, but it hasn't been that way at all. In fact, they run the ball more than they pass it.
And they're averaging 253 yards on the ground, which is 12th best in the country. Corey Ross trying to bull his way forward, gets it up to the 44-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. Nick Reed, Charles Gordon were there.
And what they're trying to do right now is establish the run. They want to try to impose their physical play on Kansas, but right now Kansas defensively, those guys are flying to the ball and they're not playing that physical game. They're jumping in gaps, getting up the field, trying to disrupt that blocking and allowing those linebackers and safeties to flow to the ball.
We'll call it 3rd and a long 4. They need to get it just past the 48-yard line.
Right.
And now a timeout taken by Joe Daly. So Nebraska takes the timeout. And the Huskers have had to start in the shadows of their own goalposts a lot. Out of those shadows now, 3rd down play coming up for them. But right now, it's the Jayhawks who have the shinier helmet, leading 5-0. Welcome to a sold-out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, where Kansas keeping these fans on their seats right now with a 5-0 lead over the Huskers. With J.C. Pearson and John Kelly, our sideline reporter, I'm Dave Armstrong, as Nebraska faces a 3rd and a long 4 from their own 44-yard line. Nebraska so far 1 of 4 on 3rd down conversion, and for the year they're around 38%. One of the keys for Bill Callahan, he said, we've got to do a much better job on both sides on 3rd down. Ross is close, but I don't think he has it. He is shy of the 48-yard line. He needed to get past the 48. Now decision time, and the decision has already been made. Nebraska will punt the ball.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to go for it here. They came out, they tried to quick snap the ball, hoping that they can catch KU sitting on their heels, but KU was ready, flowed well to the ball, and stopped Corey Ross just short of the 1st down.
So Sam Cook with Charles Gordon back at his own 10-yard line, awaiting the kick.
The Jayhawks, number 3, Charles Gordon.
A high punt that's shanked to the right. Takes a Nebraska bounce though. And the Huskers trying to cover, and will at the 2-yard line. Kellen Houston got down there and covered the ball and pins Kansas back at their own 1-yard line is where they're going to mark it.
Great coverage by Nebraska, but Charles Gordon has got to try to get in front of this ball and catch it and prevent this from happening. Give Nebraska a lot of credit. You see guys, 4 or 5 guys down there. You got to be careful. You can't be in the end zone and touch the ball.
Brandon Rigoni, the man they call the missile here at Nebraska, was the guy that kept that ball from going in the end zone. He was the one that batted it back in. So now the crowd into it, with Kansas coming from the shadows of their goalpost.
And Nebraska's not ready defensively.
They call timeout just before the play is snapped. Boy, you're right. Nebraska was standing around, not even looking at the line of scrimmage.
They weren't. They got lucky right there that the referee gave them that timeout. If if I'm Kansas, I'm going to come up and I'm just going to try to snap the ball. Look at Kansas is ready to snap. Look at all these guys. All their heads are turned to the sideline trying to find out what coverage they're in. What are they going to do? You can see right there, they finally get a timeout. Barrett Root turns to the referee and gets a timeout, but they really got lucky on that play.
Barrett Root, a heads-up play by the senior defensive captain, as they were all looking over at Kevin Cosgrove, their defensive coordinator. Well, Callahan calls Root a playmaker. He really made a play there with a timeout.
Very heads-up play by Barrett Root. Whenever there's confusion, your guys aren't lined up right, take a timeout, because otherwise you're going to give up a big play. And that's just being a senior and a leader, a guy that has been on the field for a long time and experience right there. No panic. Things aren't right. Take a timeout.
Root still directing traffic.
They've got a receiver uncovered down here. Look at him. There's nobody there. They finally see him out there. Nebraska right now, offensively and defensively, just not in sync, not in rhythm.
The officials are standing near the ball. I think this was considered a media timeout. So those radio affiliates for both Nebraska and Kansas were able to go to break here, and that's the reason they haven't snapped the ball.
This is going to be a big series for both teams. For Kansas, if they can get a couple first downs, get that ball out of deep in their own territory, it'll be good for them. And for Nebraska, if they can obviously pin Nebraska or pin Kansas down here, make them punt the ball, they're going to get great field position.
We didn't take the break. We wanted to give you your money's worth on this pay-per-view. Trying to get out of the shadows of their own goalpost. Barman with the quarterback keeper just to give him a little more space. He gets it up to the 4.
Nebraska blitzing again on that play. They brought Daniel Bullocks down late, brought him off the edge along with Severs, and what they want to do, and you can see Bullocks is going to come off the right side of your screen right there, coming a little late, but if they run anything besides that quarterback sneak, he's going to be in position to make the play.
Well, Keevan Smith really held his ground for Nebraska. Now 2nd and 9. Looking to blitz again. And a short gain by Austin Wabusi, the fullback.
Again, Nebraska being very aggressive defensively. They brought Stuart Bradley again off the corners with Daniel Bullocks, and they're playing man-to-man in the secondary, so they really don't expect Kansas to throw the ball. But you're going to see right now Stuart and Bullocks walking down late, and then at the snap, they're going to come. They're not expecting Kansas to throw the ball right now, so they're trying to bring those guys, extra guys up at the line of scrimmage and tackle the run.
Jay Moore, along with that defensive front 4, trying to keep Kansas pinned back inside the 5. And they're going to whistle this one dead. Delay of game. No play in the end zone there. Delay of game. They whistled it dead before the ball was snapped.
Prior to the snap, delay a game on the offense, half the distance to the goal, still 3rd down.
So they go from the 4 down to the 2, half the distance to the goal.
And that's what all that movement and shifting late does for you defensively. Barman sees it this time. He's trying to check out of the play into something that he thinks is going to work, but he doesn't have enough time to do it.
With all those fans, you see all that red in that end zone, so close to this play, hard for him to too audible, isn't it?
Exactly. He's got to go and walk over to both sides of the line, back to his running backs, and he just ran out of time.
Short drop. Pass is dropped, incomplete. Pass intended for Brandon Rideau, but Fabian Washington, he was able to knock it away.
Fabian Washington, one of the best corners in the Big 12. You can see, gets his hands on Rideau. And Rideau's not able to catch that ball on the quick slant. What that does now is it backs up this punt team. They're going to come after this punt. You see Fabian again trying to come off the corner. If they don't block the punt, they should get great field position.
Kyle Tucker able to get it away. Panico at the 35, hit immediately. In fact, he fell over his own guy, and now a flag comes in. Clark McCracken was there. Panico, though, came up and got the short line drive kick at his own 35-yard line.
And that's not the kind of kick you want out of there. But what they want to do, just take one step and get it out of there. They don't want to have any chance of having that punt blocked. Just get it out of there, even though it's not far. But you see, it's going to be an illegal block on Nebraska, so that's going to move them back even further. So instead of having great field position, now they move back to their own 47-yard line.
A pretty animated conversation we saw.
15 yards from the end of the
it's
run.
a break for Kansas
First
there.
down.
The conversation between Mangino and his quarterback Barman. As Barman was probably saying, but coach, it was hard to audible down there. Man, you should have heard the noise. So this will back Nebraska up. 1st and 10
Huskers take
from the
over
Kansas 47-yard line.
47-yard line.
4:37 remaining till halftime. Nebraska 100 yards of total offense so far. Catch is made on the wing by Mark LaFleur. He's getting a little more playing time. Both LaFleur and Isaiah Fluellen started the year on the injured list, and both of those guys now are seeing a little bit more action.
See, LaFleur upset right here. He catches the ball with his knee on the turf. He's got to try to go down and catch that ball. You see right there, he's dead. He's down. If he goes down and catches the ball, now he can try to turn it upfield and get yards after that catch.
Ross, nice cutback. He'll have the first down. He gets it down to the 35-yard line.
Carried by Ross. Tackle made by number 23, Rodney Fowler.
Tell you what, Corey Ross has got quick feet. He's got good vision also. He sees the whole backside and he can get to it. Watch him, he starts front side, then he's going to bring it backside. He's got good vision and good feet. He finds a crease back there. It's hard to see him. And by the time you see him, he's downfield. He's got his shoulder pads down, and he's a short guy, but he's not small at 195.
There goes Ross again. And if you think that name Ross sounds familiar to you Jayhawk fans, well, it probably is. His brother, Roger Ross, was an outstanding wide receiver for the Jayhawks just a few years ago.
And Corey Ross played wide receiver in high school, but again, you're going to see him. It's just this zone stretch play. He almost fumbles the ball, but now he's just trying to find a crease. Like I said, he's a short guy, but he's stocky, and he just runs through those arm tackles.
Brandon Jackson finds a hole. Breaks to the outside, inside the 20, down to the 19. Nick Reed was there along with Rodney Harris.
And you can see the mentality of Nebraska right now. We're going to line up, we're going to block, and we're going to run. We're not going to get fancy. We're not shifting. We're not motioning. We're coming up, and we're going to find a man, block him, and let our running backs find a crease and try to get downfield.
So they move the chains. 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line. The give to Ross. Another nice cutback. Ross, touchdown, Nebraska.
That's just a great run by Corey Ross. That's why he's the chairman of this committee. He's the guy, their #1 guy that can make it happen for him. I talked about his great vision and great feet. Great job by Corey Ross, seeing the whole backside, jumping up through it, making one guy miss and taking it to the house.
Good job on the low snap. DeAngelis able to get the extra point for a bad snap, but wait a minute, there's a flag down on the field. Both sides are going back over to their respective sidelines, and they're saying that the penalty came against Kansas. It was roughing the kicker, a personal foul that will be tacked on after the extra point. So an 18-yard touchdown run from Corey Ross gives Bill Callahan and the Huskers their first lead of the game, 7-5 in favor of the Huskers.
And you hear people talk about how special teams can affect the ball game. Remember what happened, Dave? Nebraska punted the ball, pinned KU way down in their own territory. The defense came
Personal
on,
foul,
stopped them. Then they
the kicker, 15 yards on the kickoff.
As we get the call there, but then they forced Kansas to punt deep out of their own end zone and gave them great field position. You see the roughing on the kicker right there. That's number 97, Jermile Ashley, just coming in late and giving a forearm.
Now let's go back and look at that touchdown and another good cutback here by Ross.
Oh, great feet. Watch him get backside. Great feet right there, but then watch him make a guy miss. He plants that left foot and just changes directions, never slows down, never loses any speed. Watch him again. Great cut right there, and then watch this one. Right here, he just leaves the defender. I think that was Rodney Fowler, the free safety, just in the turf.
So with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half, Corey Ross and the Huskers have the lead at 7-5. And look at Ross so far today. 11 rushes for 85 yards and that touchdown. Only his second rushing touchdown of the year. On a drive that went 47 yards and took only 140. Most of it was on the ground. John Randall with the great position on the kickoff that started at the 50-yard line. A high pooch kick that went right down to the goal line, and now flags come in.
Dead ball, personal foul on the return team, number 33, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Second straight personal foul call against KU.
You're gonna see right here. Look at that right there. It's a good block right there, but then the after the play stuff right there. 2 shots right there. You cannot lose your composure. Austin Nwabisi, starting running back, you cannot lose your composure right here. I'm sure Mangino is going to get him in the locker room. He's going to hear about that because now, again, he put his offense in a bad position. Now they're on the 5-yard line. They're backed way up, and they've got to be very conservative so that they don't turn the ball over.
Back at the 5-yard line. Nebraska showing pressure from out of the end zone. Randall, but he was immediately smothered. Titus Adams had him covered. And Randall actually lost a couple of yards on the play.
As I said, you've got to be conservative down here. Titus Adams, number 96, he's the inside guy. You can see him right here. Now he's just going to read the play, jumps outside and is able to make the tackle on Randall. But Kansas got very lucky that didn't turn into a safety.
So a loss of 3, 2nd and 13. Quick drop for Barman again. He finds his receiver, Lionel Anderson. He runs side to side instead of upfield and goes out of bounds at the 5-yard line.
And again, they're just trying to get the ball out of there quick, trying to find somebody that can make a play. Anderson runs that quick out from the tight end position, but there's really nowhere for him to go. Nebraska playing that cover 2. They've got a corner outside. Grigsby just comes up and is able to make the tackle.
Clock ticking down at 1:37. Barman dumps it off for Randall. Randall tripped up but will have the first down. He gets it up to the 19-yard line. Barrett Rood and Ira Cooper brought him down, but not before Randall was able to get the first down, and a good heads-up play by Barman.
It sure was. He just finds Randall, and it doesn't look good. It's not conventional, but it works for a first down.
No huddle offense now for KU. They find Lionel Anderson coming across the middle.
Pass complete to number 86.
They're going to stay in the no huddle now and now take a timeout. So the Jayhawks will call a timeout
If I could have your attention, please. Roy Reimers. Please
So
contact
KU, even though they have about 80 yards to go for a touchdown, or if you looked at it another way, 50 yards or so to get into field goal range, this is the little pass by Barman that got him out of the end or their own end zone.
It's just a guy making a play. Everything breaks down. He starts to run, but he sees Randall out the corner of his eye and just pushes the ball out there. Doesn't look pretty. That's not the way they teach you to throw the ball, young kids out there, but hey, it worked in this instance for Barman.
Are you a little surprised that Kansas is hurrying up right here and taking some timeouts with only 1:06 to go? I mean, this is an aggressive play by KU.
And I like it. If you want to win, you've got to be aggressive. You've got to play to win. If you don't do that, then you probably aren't going to win. What they're trying to do right now, they've got second down. They're going to try to take a couple shots, see if they can get a first down, maybe get a big play and get it at least in the field goal range. If not, the clock is probably going to run down. They can punt it away on fourth down and then play good defense.
One thing to point out, Nebraska has surrendered 9 pass plays of more than 20 yards this year, including 3 in the closing moments against Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. Second down, 6 yards to go. And the Jayhawks have something further in their sights than the 6 yards. Looks like movement. They're going to blow this play dead. Hold on, hold on. Hard to hear a whistle.
Yeah, it is. Nebraska's got to be careful, though, because they can get a unsportsmanlike penalty on that. That's the second time that they've continued to play after the play's been dead and have gotten a hit on Barman.
And Barman is talking to the referee about just that, saying, wait a minute, if you're going to blow it dead, I don't want to get back here and get
Prior to the
killed.
snap, false start, number 80 of the offense, 5 yards, still second down.
Anderson whistled. Anderson, the tight end.
You can see it's just going to be on the right side of your screen right there. And the play's dead right now. You can see Barman, he's giving himself up. He's telling the guy, stop, wait. But Bernard Thomas, he just keeps going and throws him down. And that's the second time it's happened. The referees have got to take control of that situation, or else they're going to have to throw a flag, because you can't just let a guy tee off on a quarterback after he's given himself up.
So the 5-yard penalty against Kansas, and the Jayhawks right now are upset. They're saying, look, you've got to help protect our quarterback in that situation. If the players can't hear the whistle, you've got to step in and somehow get their attention.
And you've got to keep blowing it. Keep blowing it.
Yes.
They'll hear it, and if they don't, you've got to flag them.
That's right. Barman given plenty of time and finds a wide open Gary Higgins. So they'll stop the clock to move the chains up to the 38-yard line. 57 seconds to go.
And the clock is stopped until those chains can get set. And the chains aren't even moving right now. For some reason, they've got to move those chains down. Now they just start to move the chains, so that gives Kansas a little extra time to call their play.
I don't know what they were waiting for. Maybe they thought there might be a penalty or a flag or something. There wasn't.
And the clock still hasn't started because the chains aren't set. Now the referee finally starts the clock.
And no completion there. And boy, did you see Fabian Washington coming up? He had the end zone in his sight.
He sure did. He's jumping all over those short routes by Rideau. Look at Fabian Washington. He's just reading Barman, jumping that route, and he's going wherever Rideau goes. If he lines up on the right side, that's where Fabian Washington goes. If he lines up on the left, that's where Washington is going. They're putting their best cornerback on KU's best wide receiver, but now they're in the zone coverage, and he does not go over there.
Throwing off his back foot, fumbled out of bounds, and now flags come flying in. And it looks like Shane Siegel is going to be whistled for a penalty, and this is a huge break for Kansas.
It is, and that's why you have to stay aggressive, Dave. With 1:07 left, we talked about should they be aggressive, and this is why, because you never know what can happen. You can make a couple big plays, and here they get a pass interference call, and now they don't need very many more yards to be in field goal range.
They're looking at Lionel Anderson. The pass was intended for that tight end, and he is still down.
Interference. Defense. Via spot. Automatic first down. You got a guy down on the side.
And Shane Siegel, they're going to get him. Looks like he just never finds the ball. You can see right there, he's just too early on Anderson. What he's got to do is get his head around and find the football. They'll allow some contact if you're looking at the ball, but he never looks at the ball. He's playing Anderson the whole way and interferes with them. That's a good call by the refs.
And it takes the ball into Nebraska territory at the 48-yard line with 41 seconds remaining.
Now they've got plenty of time. They've got 2 timeouts left. They don't need very many yards. They need about 20 more yards to get into field goal range, and that's manageable for them. So they don't have to just throw the ball downfield and wing it.
And JC, now that they've made the switch back from Scott Webb to Johnny Beck, Beck is the one with the stronger leg. He has more range. Pass is caught, trying to get out of bounds, and they're going to stop the clock to move the chains again at the 35-yard line as Brandon Rideau, another catch. Courtney Grigsby was right there defensively, but now Kansas very close, if not already there in field goal range.
They just throw it. They have him isolated outside. Rideau on Courtney Grigsby, the freshman that's playing. You see he's giving him a lot of room. Catches the ball and just turns it upfield, gets the first down. The clock is stopped. He gets out of bounds, and now they can huddle, call 2 plays in the huddle without the clock even running.
That offensive line again giving great protection. They're going to rule this incomplete. They're going to say that Brandon Rideau did not have control of the ball. Kellen Houston with the hard hit.
One thing you've got to realize, and what receivers learn, then they're going to learn it quickly, is that when you read zone coverage, you've got to sit down in a spot. You can't just keep running, because when you keep running, you run right into the next guy. This is zone. Rideau just keeps running, and look who he runs into. Kelly Houston, who is playing the far curl. Look at Houston. He sees him the entire time. Looks like that ball might have been a catch. He had possession. Took 2 steps. That's why the fans are booing here.
Yeah.
But in college football, Dave, there's no instant replay. So the referees rule it incomplete. It's an incompletion.
It is. And that's a break for the Jayhawks. Play action. Barman again given time. Almost picked off. Fabian Washington almost had his second pick of the night. The pass was intended for Randall. So with 22 seconds remaining, 3rd and 10.
With Fabian Washington, he's one of the best. He's playing zone. He's playing, again, on Rideau. He's just playing the quarterback's eyes. You see he comes off of Rideau and almost makes the play on John Randall. You can't telegraph your passes. That's what Barman did. He looked to the left side of the field the entire time, waited for somebody to try to come open, and by that time, Fabian Washington had him read.
Where they are right now, it'd be a 52-yard try for a field goal. So Kansas obviously wants to get a little closer. Here comes the rush, and a big sack. Shane Siegel, the man with the pass interference, makes up for it with a huge sack here.
He sure did, and like you said, Dave, they should have tried to get a few more yards to be in field goal range. They should have run the ball. I thought sure that they would run the ball, try to get a couple extra yards. Instead, they passed. Look at Siegel. He's just going to delay blitz, and there's nobody there to block him, and he's untouched, and he's going to make that play every single time. They got the protection sliding to the left. John Randall is going to come right, try to block Bradley, but there's nobody to account for Shane Siegel, the defensive back who delayed blitz.
You know, Kansas still had 2 timeouts, so they could have run the ball, called the timeout, gotten their field goal unit on the field. Instead, a huge sack there. And Mangino, probably one of the instructions here is, look, if you know you're going down, somehow throw it somewhere, throw it away, get us back up to the 35-yard line. That's easier said than done a lot of times.
Especially on that play. He had no time to do anything. Siegel was right in his face. What they should have done was run the ball, though, and that's a question, really, if this game ends up tight, that Mangino's going to have to answer in the press conference is why didn't you run the ball and try to give John Beck, who has kicked a 51-yard field goal this year, give him an opportunity to kick it.
So instead, Kansas will be denied. They're going to have to punt the ball. We can catch more football. Fox College Sports to get all the latest. Either go to foxcollegesports.com or dial 1-877-2-GETS-FCS. That's 1-877-2-GET-FCS. So Kyle Tucker, and right now Nebraska has no one back. They're going to go for the block here with 9 seconds remaining till halftime. High punt. And Kansas can't keep it from going into the end zone. Our clock shows 0-0, and it looks like the first half will come to a close. Certainly a defensive-minded first half. That was highlighted by the fact that the first score of the game was a safety.
Yeah, nobody really played as well as they thought they were going to play or hoped they were going to play, but especially Nebraska, turnovers. Their offense really wasn't in sync that entire first half, but then towards the end of the half, they went straight to the run. They said, we're not going to get fancy, we're going to run the football, and that's what they did, and that's how they got on the board.
What I'll find intriguing is what adjustments both of these coaches are going to make at halftime. That will be a very interesting story from here on in. So with halftime upon us, the Kansas Jayhawks, who jumped out in front 5-0, now trail the Nebraska Cornhuskers on the Corey Ross 18-yard touchdown run. Nebraska with the 7-5 halftime lead.
We're almost ready for the second half here. Nebraska leading 7-5. Coach Callahan, are you comfortable in these defensive battles?
No, not at all. No, we turned the ball over right on that first series, and of course we've had some bad field position, but I'm really proud of our defensive players. They've really answered to the call, and they played well. They've kept us in this and allowed us to get that lead back.
What do you have to do offensively to put more points on the board?
Execution, number one, and just securing the ball, and we're going to have to mix it up. We're going to have to run the football. We're capable of doing that, and we're going to have to we're going to have to mix it up with our play action pass. So we'll see both elements.
All right, good luck.
Okay, guys.
All right, Dave, up to you.
Thanks a lot. Well, adjustments. That's one of the great things about any football game. I love adjustments at halftime and see how each coach responds to these first half numbers.
Well, when you look at these numbers, the thing that really jumps out at you is that Nebraska has 99 yards rushing. That's where they really got back into this ball game. KU 111 yards passing. Really started to make some plays at the end of the first half. But look at the time of possession. Kansas 17 minutes there to Nebraska's 12 minutes and 27 seconds. That's a big key, because if Kansas is able to hold on to the football, obviously that keeps Nebraska's offense on the sidelines.
So Nebraska playing in their Big 12 opener. Kansas, of course, 0-1 in the Big 12 Conference. That 1-point heartbreaking loss to Texas Tech last Saturday. The Jayhawks on their schedule coming up for Mark Mangino and his Kansas Jayhawks. Well, they've got the KU-K-State matchup 1 week from tonight in Lawrence, Kansas. And then after that at Oklahoma, at Iowa State, Colorado, Texas, and Missouri. For Nebraska, after tonight's game with the Jayhawks, Bill Callahan's Cornhuskers, they'll be traveling to Texas Tech to take on that Red Raider ball club that has that wild offense. Then Baylor, K-State, Missouri, Iowa State, Oklahoma, and Colorado. And the prevailing thought, JC, seems to be the Big 12 North especially is really up for grabs.
It's really wide open right now. Anybody can win that Big 12 North, and that's why all of these games are going to be so important. But what about Coach Callahan? Pretty relaxed coming out for the second half. Didn't seem like he was too worried about anything. I don't know if they went in and they saw something that they could exploit, but he didn't really seem to be too stressed out. I mean, really relaxed and kind of cracking jokes and laughing. You normally don't see that from a coach.
Well, you look at the quarterback comparisons in the first half. These two sophomores, Barman for Kansas, 13 of 22 for 111 yards through the air. He threw that one pick to Fabian Washington. Joe Daly, meanwhile, even though he was 6 of 10, only 48 yards, and he had the one pick by Charles Gordon. So no touchdown passes by either of these teams. Nebraska moved the ball better on the ground than they did through the air.
They did, and Joe Daly had that rough start early, and then they kind of pulled in the reins on him. He really didn't throw the ball very much, only 10 passes in that first half, and none of those really downfield. They were all check downs, threw a couple balls to Harrion, just trying to get him in a rhythm and get him comfortable.
One other thing outside of those numbers that we showed you, Kansas with 45 yards rushing at halftime. They had 58 yards rushing once upon a time, but had a negative 13 yards rushing in the second quarter. The kickoff goes to the goal line. Randall bobbles it and then hit immediately. Wow. Brandon Rigoni, the missile.
And that was one of the things that they worked on during this bye week, was their coverage units, punt and kickoff, and their kickoff coverage has done a great job. So far, you can see Rigoni, he's just going to come downfield, avoid a blocker, and look at him. Great job of tackling Randall, but that's been a spot where they've given up a lot of yards, and kickoff returns in their 3 games, 2 have gone for touchdowns, so they've really made an emphasis on getting down the field and tackling.
Special teams coach for Nebraska, Bill Bush, had to like that play by the missile. Randall looking to run, nowhere to go. Stopped immediately by Barrett Root. The reason they call Rigoni the missile, he'll tell you his job on kickoffs is to find where the wedge is forming and then just destroy it.
And you've got to have some of those guys that don't care anything about their body. Nothing hurts. It doesn't matter how injured they are. It doesn't hurt. They live to go down and blow up that wedge.
They're going to call it a gain of 1, if that. Second and officially 9 yards to go for the Jayhawks. From the shotgun. Nice. No, incomplete. The pass was intended for Marcus Henry, but it came out of his hands. And there's Fabian Washington. It almost appears like Washington's covering everybody.
Yeah, it really. They need to start trying to go away from Fabian Washington, because every time they go to him, either he's on the guy or he's about to intercept the pass. Again, they try to run a quick slant. Fabian Washington all over Marcus Henry. Fabian Washington, one of the best cornerbacks in the Big 12, if not the best cornerback in the Big 12.
I know that's a tough play, but that's one really Henry needs to make.
Has to make that catch.
So 3rd and 9. Good pickup by Randall on the blitz. And able to get rid of it is Barman. It goes incomplete. Well, the blitz was initially stopped by Randall, but then Wally Muhammad, who has a strong motor, he just kept coming.
Well, they're going to come. They're going to pin their ears back, and they're going to get after Barman. He's got to know that he's got to get rid of the ball. You see Randall over there picks up Muhammad, gives him time to throw the ball. He's got to know that those guys are coming. If there's nobody open right away, he's got to try to pull it down and run or throw the ball away. If he holds it too long, they're going to get him, and they got him that time and sacked him.
Kyle Tucker, high booming kick. Panico had no room to catch the ball. We're going to throw a flag. Derek Fine was right in the kitchen of Santino Panico. You've been to Panico's kitchen before, haven't you?
And Fine, he just has to know that you've got to give the guy room to catch the ball. He's right on Panico, knowing he's going to get an interference call here. Like you said, there's no halo rule, but there's an interference rule, and that's what they're going to get him on. Really puts his defense in a bad position. And again, it starts with special teams, Dave. Kickoff team pinned KU down. Defense came in, 3 plays. Now they've got to punt the ball. Now Nebraska's got excellent field position.
Fair catch interference. Number 85 of the kicking team, 15 yards from the end of the catch.
One of the ways Kansas trying to get better, as you see the penalty goes against Derek Fine. A fine, if you will, against the Jayhawks. And did you see Coach Mangino? He went over and he said, all right, I'm going to say something to you, but then I want your special teams coach, Clint Bowen, to say something to you as well. You two guys need to get together. That kind of stuff is going to cost us field position. That's the 8th penalty against the Jayhawks for 64 yards. Corey Ross takes it right through the middle. Tim Allen finally stopped him, but a pickup of 4, maybe 5 on first down.
And penalties have really hurt Kansas their last 2 ball games. Games that they've lost, they were penalized and lost 82 yards of field position. That's huge. And then when you come to Nebraska, already they're at 63 yards in penalties, and you can't do that and win consistently.
Ross again finds a hole in the middle. Stopped shy of the first down by Nick Reed. Reed came to Kansas as a quarterback. So Ross with the back-to-back runs to make it 3rd and short.
And Ross again just trying to find some room inside. Great lead block by Dane Todd. Nick Reed fighting off blocks, trying to move down the line of scrimmage laterally and makes a tackle on Corey Ross. But this is a big play for this Kansas defense. It's 3rd and 1. If they can hold them here, that's a good stop and a win for them.
And a fumble on the snap. Daly gets it back, but no chance once the play was bobbled for any first down. So another miscue from Kurt Mann to Joe Daly. He never found the handle. Kansas is able to stop the Huskers here and force Nebraska into a field goal try from 45 yards out.
And it looks like Daly's just not grasping the football for some reason. Looks like he's getting the snap okay, but when he's pulling away from Kurt Mann, the ball seems to be slipping out of his hands.
Sandro DeAngelis has the distance this time and not the accuracy. He misses that one, so Sandro DeAngelis misses his 2nd field goal of the night, but we have a flag. If it's against Kansas, this could result in the first down. No, it's against Nebraska.
Number 65 did not have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. 1st and 10.
Certainly Kansas will decline that.
Not only did they have a penalty, they missed the kick also. Kansas comes in and faces adversity with their defense and comes away with 0 points. And you can see the kick again. He's got plenty of leg, but he's just wide right. And it wouldn't have counted anyway because they didn't line up correctly. I mean, how difficult is it to line up for a field goal? That's some things, mental errors that you can't have in a ball game.
So Kansas with the best field position they've had in a long time. Randall slips a couple of tackles and gets a gain of a couple. Barrett Ruud finally wrapped him up. You consider the last 3 drives for the Jayhawks, JC, all of them have started inside their own 10-yard line.
And therefore, they cannot really run their entire offensive package. You've got to be very conservative down there. You don't want to turn the ball over, give the defense an easy touchdown. So now is when they really can open up their playbook like they had done in the first quarter and try to gain some yards.
So they'll call it a gain of 1, maybe 1.5. A little miscommunication in the backfield. Now Barman to run. He'll gain about 4 or 5 on the play up to the 31-yard line. Barrett Ruud again. Well, Ruud coming into play tonight needed 22 tackles to become the all-time leading tackler in Nebraska history. Jerry Murtaugh has held that mark of 342 total tackles since 1970. He played for 3 years for the Huskers from 68 through 70. We asked Ruud yesterday how much that record would mean to him. He said, well, quite a bit. I met Mr. Murtaugh. He's a great guy. And just to be in his company would be quite an honor.
And just think about all the guys that have passed through Nebraska that have played on this defense, and to think that he's going to make more tackles than anybody ever is a huge accomplishment for Barrett Ruud.
First down to Mark Simmons. Good pass by Barman to Simmons. Bernard Thomas and Courtney Grigsby sandwich him there, but not before a Kansas first down.
And they finally go away from Fabian Washington, who's been on everybody tonight. Now they go after the freshman Grigsby. You can see Mark Simmons just gets inside of him, is able to make that catch and a first down.
Lornell McPherson not going tonight with an injury. So Grigsby, the freshman, taking his place. Throwing on the run, Barman, and the ball is dropped by Gary Higgins. Good coverage that time by Daniel Bullocks.
Incomplete.
what they're doing when they're rolling out is they're telling everybody where they're throwing the ball. You can see he's rolling right, he's looking right, so therefore the defenders are jumping everything short. Daniel Bullock's the strong safety. He sees Barman's eyes, and he just breaks on the ball even before he throws it. What they've got to try to do to get a big play is a double move downfield, see if they can get a defensive back to bite short or try to get Barman to look some guys off.
2nd and 10. So impressed with both of these defense, how sound they are fundamentally, both of them. Randall tripped up at the line, falls forward for one. But Ira Cooper, Jay Moore was the one that tripped him up behind the line.
And Nebraska is so good up front, they don't have to bring 6-7 guys in order to stop the run or get pressure on the quarterback, so they can leave more guys in coverage because that front four, along with those linebackers, those guys are strong enough, fast enough, and quick enough to really play well against the run.
Nebraska brings in another defensive back on 3rd and 9. Barman hangs in there. The completion right at midfield. It'll depend on the spot, folks. The pass complete to Brandon Rideau, and it will depend on where they spot the ball. It is that close to a first down.
I think they're going to be just a few inches short. This is going to be a big call for Coach Mangino. Do you go for it here at midfield? Your defense has been playing well. Do you go for it, try to get your offense in rhythm, get them going, get a first down, and keep the chains moving?
When he first caught the ball, Rideau, I thought he was actually on the other side of the 50, but where they marked it was on the Kansas side of the 50.
See, the catch is right there. That's where his foot is. But see, his momentum takes him back, and that's where contact was made at the 49-yard line.
So it appeared to be a good call, because even though he caught it across the 50, his own momentum brought him back over.
His own momentum, not the momentum of the defender, did not take him back. He took himself back, and then the defender made contact and brought him down. So that was a great spot.
In that sense, maybe Kansas even got a favorable mark, because where he was actually hit was maybe even a yard shy of where he is right now. So Mangino now, boy, he has got a huge decision to make. I mean, they are right at midfield.
Well, the way his offensive line has been blocking much better today than they have in the past few games, he should have enough confidence in those guys to go straight ahead and make a couple of inches. This is where you've got to be physical. You've got to bow up, swell up, and say, hey, right now we need a couple inches. We've got to reestablish the line of scrimmage and give our quarterback or our running back room to run.
And Barman, a big guy at 6'4". He'll try the sneak. And I'm not sure. Now the secondary push, it looks like they do have just enough for the first down.
That second effort, I think they're spotting him right on the 50-yard line, which should be enough for a first down, but initially he didn't have it.
LaKeven Smith was holding his ground, but where they're going to spot the ball will give Kansas, I believe, the first down.
Right, LaKeven Smith in the interior of that Nebraska defense, you can see the penetration they have. They push Barman all the way back to the 48-yard line. He's just trying to do everything he can. John Randall, give him an assist because he came also and pushed Barman forward.
They're looking to measure again, but since it's over that line, remember the yardage marker was right on the line, and this time for the nose of the football, Kansas will have a first down.
And give John Randall an assist on that play. Those yards aren't going to go under his statistics, but he earned that yard, and he's the guy that got that yard because he pushed Barman forward just enough to get that first down.
All right, you see, first quarter, Jayhawks rushed well, minus 13 in the second quarter, so only 5 yards rushing here in the third quarter. Now Barman changing the play. Coming on the option. Randall stays on his feet. Still going. And across the 50 down to the 46-yard line. Boy, give Randall a lot of credit there. Those yards will count for it.
And they should, because he did it all by himself. LaKeven Smith, watch 66. He gets up the field. Wally Muhammad misses him. LaKeven Smith misses him. And now he's just trying to find somewhere to run. All those yards are on John Randall. He's the guy that made that happen all by himself.
So Wally Muhammad had him back for a loss, couldn't hang on to him. Barrett Ruud stopped him after a gain of 4. Randall, big hole in the middle. Randall down inside the 20-yard line, down to the 16. Wow, big run for Randall.
Randall's their big play guy. They know that they've got to get him involved, get him the ball, and he can make some things happen. We saw it on the last play. They come right back to him just on a quick dive inside, and he takes it down. You can see just a great dive right here. He's just going to make Ruud miss. Ruud goes too far outside. Now there's a hole for Randall to jump through.
Jayhawks, who started this drive inside their 30, now at the 16-yard line, and tripped up from behind is Clark Green by Kellen Houston. There's a scramble for the ball, but they've ruled this one dead. Kansas has it.
Nebraska again blitzing those guys off of the edges. That time Kelly Houston as well as Daniel Bullocks, they're blitzing from the wide side of the field every time. Those guys walk down late and then come off the corner, and Houston was able to make the tackle, but they seem to be doing that every play. Watch the wide side of the screen. They're going to come from over here. There's Houston. Daniel Bullocks is outside also, and he's able to come down and make the tackle, and Bullocks is playing the option pitch guy in the event that they fake it inside and run the option.
Well, you see they've allowed just 41 yards on the ground on average, held Pittsburgh last couple of weeks ago to 30 yards rushing. Tonight, the Jayhawks now up to 85 yards rushing against Kevin Cosgrove.
And Dave, earlier this week on WHB 810, a radio show that we do, I said if Kansas can run the football, they're going to be in this game. And right now, they're able to run the football. They're getting yards on Nebraska, and they are right in this game.
Penalty drops the Jayhawks back to the 21, 1st and 15. Randall tripped up behind the line again. And again, Kellen Houston.
Ball carried by Randall. Stop on the play by number 29, Kellen Houston.
Kansas has to make an adjustment. They're running that same blitz every time, and it's coming from the wide side of the field. They're going to have to adjust their blocking scheme. You're going to see it's going to come from the wide side. There's Houston again, coming down the line of scrimmage off the edge, and there's nobody out there blocking him. Kansas has to figure that out. They've run it every single time. Figure out a way to get him blocked or run to the short side of the field.
Only 5'11" out of Ankeny, Iowa, which is
here he comes
near
again.
Ames and Des Moines. 2nd and
there they
16.
are again.
This time the adjustment was made and the pass is dropped. Pass intended for Gary Higgins, and he drops it. So now 3rd and 16.
This time they just try to throw the ball outside away from those blitzers, but you've got to make the catch. You've got it. That's an easy catch to make. Catch it, turn the ball up the field, and get positive yards.
Jayhawks just 3 of 12 third down conversions so far tonight. A 51-yard drive so far that's eaten up more than 5 minutes on the clock. Big 4th down play. It was converted by the Jayhawks. They needed 3 inches. They got 5 inches. Into the end zone, and it's broken up. Kellen Houston again, the man that was coming on the blitz. This time he stayed on coverage on Gary Higgins, and he knocks down the pass.
And a great job by Houston getting his head around and playing the football. We saw earlier where Siegel got called for pass interference because he didn't turn around. Watch him right here. He's going to run up the seam. And watch at the last minute. He turns his head around and he plays the football. Great job of not panicking in that situation.
39-yard try for Johnny Beck. He already has 1 field goal tonight. This one is up, and it is good. So DeAngelis of Nebraska has missed 2 field goals, and Johnny Beck has made 2. And Kansas back in front by the score of 8-7. So a 51-yard drive culminating in the field goal from Johnny Beck, and Mark Mangino's team back in front, this time by 1.
John Kelly back at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, and the Jayhawks lead 8-7. It's been well documented. The Jayhawks have not won here since October 12th of '68. And not many people were here from the Jayhawks side who saw that win, except we do have one man, KU color analyst on the radio network, Max Falkenstein was there on that historic night. And what he remembers from that game, Bobby Douglas was a star that night, and that team went on to the Orange Bowl. But, you know, not many folks from Kansas remember that night.
That's for sure, John. Jayhawks won that game 23-13. Max Falkenstein in everybody's Hall of Fame. I was kidding him earlier today. I said, Max, it's like I get to congratulate you on a weekly basis now. He's going into yet another Hall of Fame, and well-deserved. Max Falkenstein, one of the legends of our business, folks, and a long-time analyst and play-by-play man for the Kansas Jayhawks, Max Falkenstein. He can go back way before 1968. He's been there more than 50 years.
In 1968, Dave, you weren't in the booth. You didn't call that game?
No, I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
Which even dates me. But in that game, Kansas won 23-13. They went on to have a 9-2 record and went to the Orange Bowl. They were coached by Pepper Rogers. So after the kickoff, Nebraska will start the attack on their own 23-yard line.
And you know, when we asked Coach Mangino about that streak, he said, hey, we had nothing to do with any of that. I'll take 3 of those losses, but that's it. We're not worried about that. We've got to come out and try to win today.
Yeah, 35 straight losses. He said, we're not responsible for all of that. Daly scrambling. He'll make something out of nothing. He goes up to the 31-yard line, Joe Daly.
That's what Daly gives this offense. He's a dual threat. He can throw the ball, but when things break down and there's nothing there, he can use his legs like he's doing here and make something out of nothing. Like I said earlier, remember, this guy ran the option last year. He was an option quarterback. He ran with the football an awful lot, so that's not something that's foreign to him.
Interesting, we were talking to Corey Ross yesterday about what kind of plays are called in the huddle. What do they sound like? We'll give you an indication of what that's like and how it was different than the last several years here at Nebraska. Pass to the wing is complete to Ross Pilkington. Still on his feet. Straight arms and out of bounds all the way down to the 32-yard line. Rodney Fowler was the man to force him out.
And Charles Gordon just hesitated on this ball. He almost probably could have either broken this play up or intercepted the ball. Instead, he hesitated. We get a chance to see it outside. You see him, he gets a plant, but then he hesitates and doesn't drive on the ball, allows Pilkington to catch it, and then he misses the tackle, and Ross takes it all the way down to the 32-yard line.
Ross Pilkington, his dad Greg, when he was a kid, would throw him balls out in the backyard, and the flowers, mom's flowers, were out of bounds. So if he stepped in the flowers, that was no good. This time, Daly airmails everything.
And that looked like a bad throw, but actually that was a good throw by Joe Daly. I hope he meant to do that because nobody was open downfield. Instead of trying to force a ball in there like he's done in the first few games, get the ball intercepted, he just threw it way over everybody's head.
I'm not sure when you wear a hat like that, a tie is necessary. Second down, 10 yards to go. Corey Ross knifes his way through the middle, down to the 25-yard line. It's going to bring up third and about 3. Jermiles Ashley was the man who made the stop for the Jayhawks.
And if you go back to the first half, the way Nebraska got going offensively and got that touchdown on the board was by running the ball. Corey Ross on that zone stretch play, letting him find a seam and jumping up through it. That's been their most effective play all night.
Quick drop, Pilkington, first down, inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. Theo Baines made the stop.
Pilkington is a sure-handed guy. You throw the ball out there to him, anywhere near him, he's going to catch the ball 9 times out of 10. Just a quick 3-step drop. Joe Daly turn, get rid of the ball. Nice, easy throw. Pilkington jumps inside of Theo Baines, gains a first down.
Pilkington talks about his 2 years with the Rockies organization. He says he really grew up in that 2-year period of time. He is one of the captains here at Nebraska, even though he's only a junior. The give is to Brandon Jackson.
Jackson, the ball carrier.
Very far, maybe a yard, maybe just to the line of scrimmage. That was about it. Tim Allen
Tackle made by
was
number
the man who stuffed the
67,
play there.
But you can see they're starting to get back into their offense. Now they've brought back the shifting and the motioning. In the first half, they went away from it. They just went very vanilla, very basic. Line up, let's run the play. Now they feel like they're starting to get into a flow, and now they're incorporating their whole offense again.
Here's what a play might sound like. Scatter to green, right slot, F right, 98 solid. That's a run play, folks. This a pass play, and it's completed to Dane Todd, the fullback. Gain of about 4 or 5. Last year, a play call might go something like 49 pitch. That was it.
You called that pretty good. You sound like you've done that before.
No, I've heard it.
You sound like you've done it, but that's why it was so hard for these guys really to get a full grasp of this offense, because the terminology was so much different from what they had been accustomed to in all those years previously.
Everything has a meaning. The scatter to green, the right slot, the F right tells you the shift, the movement, which way you're going to run with the ball. 3rd and 6 here. They dump it off for Corey Ross. Ross, touchdown, Nebraska! Ross now with 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. The offense is starting to wake up here in the second half. Now for the point after. DeAngelis, well, he got it through the upright. If that had been much longer, though, he might not have. So Corey Ross with his 2nd touchdown of the night, his 1st career reception for a touchdown. And Nebraska back in front by a half dozen. So Corey Ross, his 2nd touchdown of the night to give Nebraska the 14-8 lead.
And Corey Ross gets all the credit and all the accolades for scoring the touchdowns, but the guy that makes it happen right there, Kurt Mann, 64, snaps the ball. Now look who's out in front of Corey Ross making the block. Right there, number 64, Kurt Mann. He's the guy that snapped the ball, got out on the screen, knocked the corner down, and allowed Corey Ross to get into the end zone.
Ross didn't need much room, just a little sliver, and Mann gave him just enough. So Nebraska now regains the lead. It's now up to 6. Sam Cook. He'll be kicking off to John Randall. Corey Ross, we're asking him, how many touches is enough for you in the game? He said, well, I can be selfish. I don't mind getting it all the time.
Yeah, if there's any running back in the country that tells you he doesn't want the ball, then he's probably not playing very much.
Randall up across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Brandon Rigoni, the missile, was there to make the stop. Let's get on to John Kelly. John?
All right, Dave, thank you very much. With Corey Ross's brother, Roger. Your brother's having a pretty good night, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he having a good night, man. I told him KU was going to try to make it real hard for him, but he doing a real good job. He took the challenge, and he's running with it real hard.
Considering you're a former Jayhawk, is it a tough night for you?
Yeah, it's tough, but I know I'm cheering for my brother and the Jayhawks at the same time. But it's real hard. You know, my brother making it real hard for me to cheer for KU. But you see, I'm still supporting KU, though.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Roger, at least he's still wearing the KU visor.
Yeah, that's called politically correct.
You're right. Instead of going out of bounds, Gary Hagan stays in bounds. He gets a couple of more yards on the play. In fact, very close to a first down up to the 36-yard line. Stuart Bradley was there defensively. By the way, Ross with 37 receiving yards tonight. We mentioned his first career receiving touchdown. Also, the 37 receiving yards is a career high for Corey Ross. So he is becoming multi-dimensional in this new West Coast offense.
He sure is, and he said he liked to catch the ball. He was a wide receiver in high school for half of his high school career, so he's very, very familiar with catching the ball.
2nd and 1 for the Jayhawks, and movement, make it 7-6. Well, that's the 3rd time that there has been movement on that offensive line for KU tonight.
And look how frustrated Coach Mangino is. Those are things that no matter how many times you harp on it.
77 on the offense. Remains 2nd down. 5 yards.
Whenever guys have those kind of penalties, and those are just concentration errors. Those are concentration penalties. You can understand if a guy is giving an effort penalty down the field or something. But this, you know what the snap count is on. Watch these guys over here on the right side or left side of their offensive line. Both of those guys, Bob Whitaker, Matt Thompson, jump off sides and they move too early.
Nebraska doing a good job of just jumping a little bit, and then Kansas is flinching as well. Randall picks a hole and gets a first down anyway. Daniel Bullock's able to wrap him up, but not before Randall gets up to the 39, almost the 40-yard line.
John Randall doing a good job all night long. Charles Gorey, another big play guy. Now he's a defensive guy. They need to get him in the game and get him some touches, but good job, John Randall, just running that dive, starting one way, jumping back, finding a hole backside and finding some room to run for a first down, but they've got to get some big plays out of this offense.
Randall down 93 yards rushing. And remember, Nebraska came in holding opponents to 41 yards rushing. The pitch back to Randall. He's got a seam on the right side, close to midfield, close to a first down. Courtney Grigsby and Barrett Rude able to wrap him up there, but another big pickup of 9 yards on first down.
Watch the fullback, Brandon McAnderson. Look at him coming. He's going to chop down the corner right there, and that allows Randall to get to the corner and up the sideline. Great job of blocking by the fullback, McAnderson.
So second down, 1 yard to go. You talk about the playbook being open. It's wide open here on 2nd and 1. You can do about anything.
It really hasn't. And Nebraska, in their last 5 games, going back to last year, has not allowed a team to rush for over 100 yards on him. And John Randall has done a good job by himself.
Yeah, 102 yards for Randall, and that right there will be good enough for the first down. Bernard Thomas stopped him, but right at midfield, and they'll move the chains one more time. Both of these teams making good offensive adjustments so far, JC. Both of them doing a much better job of moving the football in the second half.
They really have, and both of these defenses are excellent defenses. You can see Randall 102 yards, Nebraska as a team 119 yards. John Randall carrying the load for KU in the rushing game.
We could change that, Nebraska to the committee.
The committee.
Randall versus the committee.
Exactly.
Randall's a committee of one. Incomplete. By the way, it should be pointed out that the chairman of the board of that committee, Corey Ross, has 100 of those 119 yards for Nebraska. So second down and 10 after the Barman incomplete pass. Barman last year, they wanted to redshirt him. But then all of a sudden, late in the season, an injury to Bill Whittemore. Kansas with bowl hopes for the first time in many years. They decided to take the red shirt off Barman. He played really well until Whittemore got healthy again. And Kansas did go to a bowl game. Here comes the blitz, and the pass incomplete. Daniel Bullock's coming from his strong safety position.
And you can see the frustration on Barman, but he's got to see the blitz. It's the same blitz that they've been coming with all day. They're going to come from the wide side. You can see Houston. Here comes Daniel Bullock's, and nobody's over there to block him. And now they're throwing the ball outside. You've got to try to find a way to slow those guys down or run away from them. Move the pocket. Roll out to the right, to the short side of the field. That's going to buy you extra time to throw the ball.
Now 3rd and 10.
And here they come again. Now he's showing, now he's backing off.
And Barman throws it away. He felt the pressure, and Barman looked like he was shaken up a little bit. Hit on the left hand.
Barman feeling the pressure. And then Siegel's going to come in right there, and you can see, look at that helmet right on that left elbow, and Barman immediately grabs that arm. It hurts when the helmets hit you right on that elbow. They're looking at it right now, but fortunately for him, it's not his throwing elbow.
Why do they call that the funny bone?
There's nothing funny about getting hit right there.
Bad punt here, and it takes a Nebraska bounce. Just an awful punt by Kyle Tucker. And the punt then went backward. So a short punt by Tucker gives Nebraska great field position. They'll take over at their own 37-yard line.
And field position is so important in a ball game, and Nebraska has won that battle so far tonight. Their offense has started in great field position since the middle of the second quarter, and obviously that's led to their touchdowns, and right now they get to start again on their own 37-yard line.
So a punt of only 13 yards Now let's go back and recheck what you thought were some of the keys, JC. Jayhawks running game, that's been pretty good for KU.
And that was a key for them. They had to come out and run the ball and not be one-dimensional. They've been able to do that. And for Nebraska, they had to limit their turnovers. They had 12 turnovers actually coming into the ball game. Daly had 8 interceptions and threw another one tonight. So that is something that they wanted to work on. They wanted to try to reduce them, and they've only had 1 so far, and that's helped them also.
Could also almost count the safety as another turnover there on a muff. They just went ahead and went out of bounds, stepped out of the end zone for the safety there. So a couple of miscues by Nebraska. They've been able to withstand that with their great defense. They have really bottled up Kansas for the most part and held the Jayhawks to just a couple of field goals.
Huskers ball, first and 10 from their own 37-yard line.
Well, here's the chairman, Dave. You said it earlier. He's the guy that starts this whole committee. Great feet, great vision. Look at his acceleration. He makes guys miss, but he also can run with power. He's only 5'6", but 195 pounds, and he can catch the ball as well. He's got great hands, and once he gets outside, it's just like a sweep pass. He's outside in the open field. He's going to be tough to bring down.
About 137 yards of total offense for Corey Ross. Now Daly on the run. Whoa, he's hit. He's fumbled the ball. Let's see. Kansas might have it. Joe Daly was hit in 2 different directions, but now they're going to say Nebraska got the ball back. Boy, he was tag teamed by Banks Floodman and David McMillan.
And he's a little shaky right here, and we just talked about their turnovers. Watch Banks Floodman. He's going to get a great hit, and then David McMillan comes in there. That ball comes out, and Joe Daly, he's just fighting and scrapping down there to get the ball. David McMillan gets it out. Real lucky, just scrambling right there to get the ball, and Joe Daly's able to pull it back in. Watch Joe Daly fight. He knows he can't turn this ball over. His head is down. Guys are on top of him, but he's able to pull it back in.
Boy, with, I'm sure, stars in his eyes, I was able to get that ball back. And then Daly throws a complete pass to Pilkington, and he fumbles the ball. This time Kansas does have it. Banks Floodman recovers the fumble for the Jayhawks. Charles Gordon came up and really popped Pilkington.
And look at Coach Callahan. You know he is frustrated. They've talked about turning the ball over. Pilkington does a great job turning backwards and catching the ball. Look at him. Turns around, catches the ball, but look at it swinging out there. He never puts the ball away. A KU defender gets his helmet on it. It comes out, and now Banks Floodman falls on it, and KU's got the ball back.
That's the 4th fumble for Nebraska tonight, but the first one they've lost. So it's the 2nd official turnover for the Huskers, the interception, and now the fumble. And Kansas back in business, back on their own 28-yard line. Randall trying to switch gears, but wrapped up by Jay Moore, who wasn't going to let him go.
Ball carried by number 1, Randall. Tackle made by number 44, Jay Moore.
And that's the end of the 3rd quarter. 3rd quarter comes to a close. Nebraska with 2 scores, both touchdowns. Kansas getting ready to go to the 4th quarter. They have a couple of scores, both field goals. That's really the difference in this game, with Nebraska, after 3 quarters of play, leading by the score of 14-8.
Nebraska football has contributed to the pride of our state for over 100 years. The new Memorial Stadium expansion project will attract some of the top athletes in the nation and help build the future of Nebraska football. There is no place like Nebraska.
Welcome back to Lincoln, Nebraska. Coach Mangino facing a 6-point deficit with 9:20 remaining in this game. His team has the ball at the 25-yard line of Nebraska. They're facing a 4th and 9. Originally, the Jayhawks came out and looked like they were going to go for it on 4th and 9. Now they're still all huddled near the sideline. We don't know yet if they have changed their mind.
And I don't know what the question is and why the confusion. You obviously kick the field goal here. It's a 42-yard field goal. Beck has kicked 2 in a row. He's kicked 51-yard field goal this year. 4th and 9 against this defense is awfully tough to make.
And they're going to go for it. So Mangino really rolling the dice. And Barman throws it up for Gordon, incomplete. Gordon looking back, he wanted some sort of an interference. Barman staggers back up, he was hit hard. Shane Siegel was back there in coverage on Gordon.
Now, I really don't understand this call. You know Nebraska is going to come and they're going to bring pressure on him. He gets hit as soon as he throws the ball. Titus Adams right there. Looks like Bernard Thomas on the other side. And there's nobody open downfield. You run a 2-man route. You're trying to cross those guys, but you don't have enough time to throw the ball down there. It's 4th and 9. Don't understand why they didn't try to get the 3 points.
I really don't either, especially since their field goal kicker had hit 2 in a row. Well, let's see if it works out for Kansas nonetheless. Still trailing by a half dozen. And a good stop by Kevin Kane. And a loss of a couple of yards on 1st down for Nebraska. So Daly, who started off okay, I mean, as far as the turnovers were concerned, he had 1 interception in the first half, but now a fumble, another interception here in the second half. Nebraska with 16 turnovers this season, and they haven't yet completed 4 games. Daly, completion to Pilkington, and he is stopped after a gain of about 6 by Nick Reed. That'll bring up 3rd and long for Nebraska.
But that's a good, easy throw for Joe Daly to make. Just throw the out to Ross Pilkington, let him catch the ball, get as many yards as he can get. Now you're in a 3rd and 8 situation. Now you don't have to throw the ball way downfield. You can throw another quick out. Look for Harrion, work in the middle of the field. He's a guy that has kind of disappeared. They haven't really gone to him much today.
Kansas needs to stop here on 3rd and 8. Clock ticking down near 8 minutes. Ross tripped up. Good play defensively in there for Kansas as Brandon Perkins, no relation to Lou Perkins, the athletic director, Brandon Perkins with a great stop there on Corey Ross, and Nebraska will be forced to punt. 3 and out for the Huskers.
Great job by Brandon Perkins. He sees the play, he comes and he forces it and is able, there he is right there. Look at him, just come off the edge, avoids Harrion, and is able to get his hands out and trip Corey Ross up. Big play by Perkins.
And a timeout taken by Nebraska. So the special teams coordinator for Nebraska, Bill Bush, wants to talk things over. Nebraska will punt the ball when we return to Memorial Stadium in a moment. We welcome you back to Memorial Stadium as Nebraska clinging to this 6-point lead. This has become real defensive strategy now in a field position game.
And a really strange game. Some of the decisions that have been made really go against conventional wisdom, and right now we're going to see who's going to win out, but right now this game is up in the air.
So with Nebraska facing a 4th and long here, they're going to punt the ball. Sam Cook so far 3 punts today. He has averaged 50 yards per kick. So Bill Callahan hoping his black shirt defense, which has been absolutely stellar here tonight, giving up just a couple of field goals, will continue to give Nebraska the advantage in this game. Back to get it is Charles Gordon, a great return man for Kansas. High short kick. Gordon weaving through traffic, did not call a fair catch. And then ripped down, looked like a face mask from here, but right on the field, no face mask called. Bo Rude, the younger brother of Barrett Rude, able to make the stop.
Charles Gordon trying to make something happen. Catches the ball, trying to get to the wall. They had a right return set up, but it's not able to get there. Bo Rude is able to bring him down. But KU is probably in their best starting position, the best that they've had in a long time.
Just a 37-yard punt by Cook, and good call by the official, or good non-call, I should say, as Bo Rude made a great tackle, had no part of any face mask. So the Jayhawks start at their own 36-yard line. Here comes the blitz again. Barman checking off. And a sweep right. Randall He gets around one tackler, but could not avoid the grasp of Stuart Bradley.
Tackle made by number
Randall's
34,
yards
Stuart
tonight,
Bradley, and number 55,
they have
Wally
been
Muhammad.
tough to get against this Nebraska defense.
It sure has. And when they're blitzing from the wide side of the field, what KU has to realize is that the defensive front of Nebraska is stunning to the short side. So they try to run the toss to the short side of the field, but Nebraska's front four, they're all angling that way. So they've got to try to come more straight ahead or try to come back around the blitzer.
2nd and 10. No gain on that first run play. Mormon given time, throws it up, and it is incomplete. Pass was intended for Mark Simmons. He had it for a moment, couldn't come down with it. Daniel Bullocks was right there defensively.
These defensive backs for Nebraska, these guys are good. Some people think that this secondary as a whole is the best in the country, and you can see this is the strong safety in coverage on a wide receiver, and he's the guy that's going up over Simmons, almost makes the interception, but he's not even a corner. He's a safety.
So 3rd and 10. Across the middle, pass is caught by Rideau, but it'll be short of the first down. Short gain. Fabian Washington was right there, and the gain takes it up only to the 40. It'll bring up 4th and 6. And surely Mangino's not going for it here.
And KU has kind of gotten away from their game plan. Now they run the short crosser on 3rd down. They pick up 4 yards. That's the play they should have run on 2nd down. Now on 3rd down, they only have 6 yards, 5 yards to go. Instead, they try to throw the ball downfield, leaves them in a 3rd and 10.
Panico back, awaiting the kick of Kyle Tucker. Tucker boomed on 57 yards his last time. Panico back inside his own 20. Low, boring kick this time. Panico back to his 15. Backtracks a couple of steps and doesn't even make the 20. Up to the 19-yard line. Well, the Black Shirts did their job. 3 and out for the Jayhawks. And now let's see if the Jayhawk defense can try to give Kansas yet another opportunity with the clock showing 5:33.
Number 29, John Cornish.
Well, I think Nebraska, they're going to come out and they're going to try to get back to their run game. Not only have they been successful at it, but right now it's going to help keep the clock running. And that's the main thing right now for Nebraska. Have this clock run because they want to try to get out of here with the win.
Each team has 2 timeouts remaining. You look at the defensive coordinator for the Huskers, Kevin Cosgrove, the man they call Cos, Coach Cos. He's got to be thrilled with what his defense has done here tonight. And movement here this time by Nebraska. They'll back him up 5 more yards.
False start. 9 on the offense. 5 yards. 1st and 15.
I think he said 69. I'm not exactly sure, but I think he said 69, which would be Provendo.
Exactly. And if you can read lips, Coach Callahan said, what's going on? It was a simple run. And we jump off sides. There's nothing to think about. We know what we're going to do. Let's just run it on the snap count.
Nebraska trying to start Big 12 play 1-0. Kansas trying to get back to 1-1 in the Big 12. Straight run through the middle by Brandon Jackson.
Ball carried by number 32, Brandon Jackson.
He'll pick up about 4 yards on that play, so it'll bring up 2nd and we'll call it 12. Ball sitting back at the 17-yard line. You know, if Kansas can force Nebraska 3 and out here, they could have reasonably good field position in trying to get that score. And you look at offensive plays tonight, time of possession tonight, yardage tonight. A lot of things favor Kansas, but not the scoreboard. Ross looked like he had a hole, and then it was quickly closed by Nick Reed and Banks Floodman. So now 3rd and long, 3rd and we'll call it 10, well maybe 9 for the Huskers.
Brings up 3rd and 10.
That's a big play for Nebraska. Obviously, they want to try to convert this. They've worked on 3rd downs all week long. That was their point of emphasis, but they didn't work on 3rd and 10. They wanted to be in 3rd and short to medium. 3rd and 10. Now they're going to have to try to come out, throw the ball to gain this 1st down.
And more movement. Make it 3rd and 15.
Penalty flag on the play.
And the problem with that is now they've got to put the burden on Joe Daly. And we know what he's done so far tonight. A lot of interceptions.
False start. Number 65 of the offense. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
This time it's on Greg Austin.
As we hear the call, but you can see the right side looked like it was Brandon Coe. Just raises up and gets caught. Actually, that was Greg Austin in for Brandon Coe, and he gets caught moving before the snap. But now it's 3rd and 15. Now you've got to put it on Joe Daly to make a play for you down the field.
And your probably biggest fear if you're a Husker fan right now is Daly might throw it away. Instead, Daly completes it to Pilkington. He goes out of bounds, though, 3 yards shy of the 1st down marker, up to the 26.
Complete to number 2, Ross Pilkington.
So a good throw by Daly, but just shy of the 1st down marker, and Nebraska's going to turn it back over to the defense.
And Kansas's defense holds again. I don't know if they held so much as Nebraska shot themselves in the foot with those 2 false start penalties. Put them in a 3rd and long, and now they've got to punt the ball away to KU, and they've got another chance. Should end up with pretty good field position after this punt.
Cook to Gordon. More coverage now for Nebraska. Cook, spiraling punt. Gordon's got it at his own 38. Crowd wanted a clip. Not much of a return of only a couple of yards up to the 40.
Gordon on the return.
The reaction from the crowd, they thought there was a block to the back or a clip on the part of the Jayhawks on the coverage.
Great coverage by Nebraska. Their coverage team gets down there. Looked like at first Gordon was going to have some room, and this is what they're wanting right here. A block in the back on Rigoni. They don't get that call, but look at all the other red shirts down in coverage, hustling down the field, making a play. Rigoni actually gets back up off the ground and gets in on the tackle.
Punt of 37 yards, a return of 2. So here we go, Kansas with their last best chance. Randall bottled up after a short gain, a gain of 1 by Chad Severs.
Tackle made by number.
Give you an update on what's going on down in College Station. And Texas A&M handing it to Kansas State in the 4th quarter. The Aggies leading at 35-23. The Wildcats, the defending Big 12 champs. Barman stands his ground. Pass not caught, though, by Mark Simmons. Boy, that was gutsy play by Adam Barman. He knew the guys were coming, and he held his ground and got an accurate pass into Simmons.
Gutsy on Barman's part, but not on Mark Simmons' part. You've got to catch this ball. He's hearing footsteps, seeing Barrett Root coming right here, takes his eyes off the ball. Look, just alligator arm. He doesn't reach out for the ball. That's a play he's got to make. When they go into film session, Mangino's got to get on him and say, hey, you know you're going to get hit anyway. We need to catch.
All right, now 3rd and 9. Clock stopped at 3:17. Another pass dropped. This one intended for Lionel Anderson.
Penalty flag on the
That's
play.
at least a half a dozen drops by the KU receivers tonight. Now whistle a flag
False start.
thrown on the play.
Number 71 of the offense.
Well, let's see what
yards,
Nebraska
remains
decides
3rd
to
down.
do here. They can.
That's a dead ball.
Oh, it's a motion call.
The right side. You can see number 71, Cesar Rodriguez, leaning back and gets called. And actually, it probably was a good thing that he got called on a penalty here because Anderson dropped the ball. Now at least they get the 3rd down over and have another chance at least to make a 1st down.
I did not hear the call, so it was a dead ball call. Now 3rd and 14. Jayhawks with 2nd chance here. Barman trying to shout instructions as to what to do. Passes behind his intended receiver, Rito. And that's going to bring up a 4th and long again. Courtney Grigsby was right there.
A miscommunication. You can see Barman's telling him, I gave you a signal. That's a go route. Instead, Gordon looks like he ran the wrong route, so he comes back to redo. They almost got a pass interference call on Courtney Grigsby. Looked like he might have gotten there just a little bit too early, but obviously no call.
You wonder, would Gordon be confused there, JC, because he doesn't run a lot of offensive plays in practice?
That very well could be, but he's a guy that you've got to get in there. Here's a fake.
The fake that will fall short. But you know what? I don't have a problem with that with only 3:08 remaining. Good play by Rude again. Barrett Rude with yet another tackle.
Well, you're not going to fake him out. He's a veteran. He's been around a long time, experienced. Watch Rude. They're all playing in prevent defense right here. They're expecting a fake. Rude right here just comes off and just blows them up. Ooh. But Kansas, they've got to see that those 4 linebackers are back there. They're playing in a safe punt return situation. They're playing for the fake. Now you've got to punt the ball out of there.
While I thought earlier that maybe Kansas should have gone for the field goal, the reason I say I don't have a huge problem with it there, we've got a couple of flags thrown. It could be a hold on that Nebraska offensive line. With 3:03 to go, 3:08 to go when that play took place, JC, I mean, you haven't beaten this team for 35 straight years. I say why not? And I know your defense has done a great job and you can continue to play that field position game, but if that play goes and is successful, man, who knows what the momentum does to carry you through.
Yeah, if is a big word,
it's
though.
Huge. I
in
know.
this instance, Dave, you got to punt that ball away,
All right.
especially with the way they were lined up defensively. You're not going to make a play there. Kick the ball away. Let your defense come on the field. They've done a great job all night. We get the call here, a holding on Nebraska. Your defense has played well all night long. Hopefully they can come in, make one more stop, but they lucked out here with Nebraska again shooting themselves in the foot, so that penalty takes them back now to the 49-yard line.
And that brings up 1st and 20. Kansas with 2 timeouts remaining, clock under 3 minutes. And they give it to Ross, almost no gain at all. Travis Watkins was right there defensively. Kansas looking over. Do you want us to call timeout? Clock is running. Play clock still with 20 seconds remaining. Nebraska's going to take their good, sweet time right here.
They are, but they're in a 2nd and 20 situation, so they're probably going to still come out and run the ball. If they do throw it, it's going to be a nice conservative pass. Obviously, they don't want Joe Daly to throw the ball downfield and get picked off.
Daly with a deep drop, throws it across the middle. Pass caught by Mark LaFleur. A gain of about 7 or 8. And bring up 3rd and long. And with under 2 minutes to go, Kansas now will use a timeout. So they have 1 remaining. The Jayhawks, they stop the clock here with 1:58. The Jayhawks can get another stop. They can get their hands back on the ball again, JC, with about 1:40 to go on the clock.
Joe Daly just throws the ball underneath. Like I was saying, a nice, easy throw. Just trying to pick up as many yards as they can pick up. Big down, 3rd and 13 for Nebraska, but a bigger down for Kansas because, like you said, Dave, if they can get a stop, they can get their hands back on the ball. That's what they want to do.
Best case scenario for the Jayhawks here is an incomplete pass by a Joe Daly. That would do 2 things. Obviously, they wouldn't get their 4th down or their 3rd down play. And secondly, they would also be able to stop the clock without having to use that final timeout. Daly, he has had the good and the bad tonight, but here's some of the bad.
And it started out bad early. The 2nd play of the game, he fumbles the ball, gets a safety, comes back, he throws an interception to Charles Gordon, and then just a bad decision right here. Throws the ball downfield, and Charles Gordon again picks it off. Joe Daly having a rough night, has made a few plays, but has really made some bad decisions throwing the ball, and that's something that they talked about having to live with, but they want to correct that.
All right, you see they lost to Iowa State 3 years ago. A couple of years ago. Huskers, though, they have been brilliant in conference openers. This, by the way, is the earliest they have ever met the Jayhawks in a conference season. Mark Mangino's team lost that heartbreaker, leading 30-5 against Texas Tech last week, and did not score in the 2nd half and wound up losing 31-30 in that game. So trying to avoid that 0-2 Big 12 start. But first things first, 3rd and 13 here for the Huskers. Daly rolling out. Pass is complete to Grant Mulkey. Well shy of the first down. And now what do you do if you're Nebraska? Do you punt it here? You're on the 34. You're, boy, in very marginal field goal range.
Oh, no question. You punt it here and try to pin Kansas back as deeply as you can. You have to. Because the way their defense has played, they've not given up very many big plays. Now you force Kansas to have to go on the play on the long field with only one timeout.
So Gordon now is going to go back. For a while there, Gordon was up wanting to know if Kansas wanted to pressure here. And Nebraska will take a delay of game. It gives them a little more room here. They're going to either pooch it or coffin corner it.
Delay of game by the offense. 5 yards. Still don't work down. The clock will start on the snap.
And what that does two things for Nebraska. It gives them a little more room to punt the ball, but it also took every second that they could take off of that clock off. So now the clock is down to 1:09. It's not going to start until the snap, but still they're going to punt that ball and try to pin KU way back.
I'm a little surprised Kansas again didn't use their final timeout. You can control the clock a little better on the offensive end, but they saved that last timeout, and it cost them a few seconds here. 1:09 remaining. Well, that's a shank job. Sometimes that'll happen. I mean, you try to hit it so softly, and Sam Cook just had to go right off the side of his foot. They're going to mark it at the 22-yard line.
Wow, they couldn't have done much worse going for it, actually.
Right.
That's not what they had planned. They wanted to try to kick that ball and pooch it down inside the 10. Now instead they give Kansas decent field position. Obviously Kansas, they've not made a lot of big plays, not only tonight, but during this season. That was one of the knocks on this offense, is they don't make a lot of big plays. Now they've got to come up with a few.
Only a 16-yard punt. Barman given time. Pass is caught by Gordon. He sheds one tackler, but not another.
He didn't get out of bounds, so the clock is still running. They've got to hurry up, get to the line of scrimmage, and try to get a play run. The clock is running.
Shane Siegel. Looking at the 30-yard line.
This time the clock will stop for a play out of bounds. The pass caught by Lionel Anderson, and the ball goes all the way up to the 45-yard line. Remember earlier when Kansas did not go for what would have been about a 42-yard field goal. So now, trailing by 6, they need to get the score, the big score. They need the touchdown. They can't just get in field goal range.
No, they can't. And Nebraska's playing a soft cover 2. They've got those two safeties playing real deep, they don't want to let Kansas hit anything over the top. They'll give them all the underneath stuff, just nothing deep.
Kansas trying to overcome a generation of futility against the Huskers. A dump off to Randall. He fumbles the ball. And another fumble, now a pile up. Let's see who's at the bottom of that pile.
Like Wally Thomas was the guy that knocked that ball out. And somehow KU.
Charles Gordon wound up at the bottom of that pile.
Oh, man, I don't know how he did that, because it looked like there were a lot of red shirts on it. But Gordon, down there fighting and scrambling, was able to come away with the ball. And now Kansas, they've got another shot. They've got to line up, get ready.
Clock stopped while they moved the chains. Now it's running again. Barman looking for a deep pass. And incomplete. Pass intended for Simmons. And now flag comes in. Fabian Washington was there on the coverage.
But I think they might get Mark Simmons for offensive pass interference. He hooked Fabian Washington with his left hand, and he turned into the defender to try to knock the ball away. Watch 83, Mark Simmons. He's going to grab Fabian Washington right here, He turns into the defensive back, and now they're going to get him for offensive pass interference.
That's exactly the call.
Number 83 of the offense, 15 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
That's a huge call in this game. Boy, if it had gone the other way, man, you have real hope if you're the Jayhawks. Callahan just hoping those last 15 seconds can somehow tick off this clock, and Nebraska escapes with a win. It would be their 36th straight over the Jayhawks.
And right here, you have a timeout left. You don't have to go for it all right now. Get 10, 20 yards, and then try to line up and throw it to the end zone.
Barman gets the ball, but not out of bounds to Charles Gordon. So now with the clock running down, you've got to take your last timeout.
Out of bounds by number 29.
And they finally do, but precious seconds run off the clock. And now Kansas forced to do one thing, a Hail Mary.
That's all they can. Clock management, you've got to know that the ball is still in bounds. You have to know that you have a timeout left, and you've got to call it immediately. They let 5 additional seconds run off the clock.
So the Jayhawks now will be faced with the situation where the ball is on the 49-yard line. And this last play will decide the game. You know the Huskers will be sending several guys way deep on their pass coverage. Just try to knock the ball down. Barman this year does have a 55-yard touchdown pass.
It's going to be tough in this situation, though, Dave. Nebraska's going to put 4 guys real deep, 1 guy on the end line, and he's not his job. Sole responsibility is don't let anybody get behind you. That is his only job, and it's going to be tough for KU to do that.
When you talk about a prevent defense for Nebraska, Josh Bullocks is back at the 3-yard line.
He's just playing center field. Wherever that ball goes, his job is to go over there and knock that ball down.
Bullocks actually now in the end zone. That's Josh Bullocks, folks. He is 50 yards from the line of scrimmage.
And they've got 3 other guys 30 yards downfield.
Barman throws it up for grabs. Incomplete, and that will be the ball game. Good pass by Barman, but Bullocks got up there to knock it away, and Kansas denied yet another year. So the streak lives on for the Huskers as Callahan and Mangino meet at midfield in a defensive-minded game. The Huskers able to score a couple of touchdowns and get by Mangino's Jayhawks, who scored just a couple of field goals and had the safety. Final score here 14-8.
And for KU, there are no moral victories. They came in here wanting to win this ball game and had every chance, every opportunity to win the game. They had guys dropping passes. They didn't take advantage of turnovers when they had a chance, and therefore they only come up with 8 points and come away short.
JC, I think it really is going to test the mettle of the Jayhawks. I mean, you had the 1-point loss to Texas Tech, the 3-point loss to Northwestern, now this tough loss here at Nebraska. Yeah, I know these are young guys with, you know, fragile stuff. For them to come back again next week, you know they've got the great rivalry with Kansas State. It'll be very interesting. I tell you what, I like the Jayhawks and what they do and how they were able to bounce back here tonight against Nebraska, and give the Huskers credit. On a night when they did have a lot of turnovers, their defense really played well enough to keep them in this ballgame and to win the ballgame.
Oh, no question about it. This Nebraska defense, we knew they were one of the best in the country. They're aggressive, they're fast. They were going to get up the field and get after the quarterback. Great job against run, very rude all over the football field, but they are the guys that really won this game for Nebraska. They played very well. They got put into a lot of adverse situations, and they came in and they held their own, and they only gave up 8 points.
All right, let's go down to John Kelly, who is down with Corey Ross, who had 107 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. John, go ahead. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Corey, wasn't pretty, but it was a win.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't pretty, but we'll take it. I mean, we fought hard. They fought hard. It was a great game.
Was it special with your brother? To get a couple of scores tonight.
Yeah, my brother's up there, my dad's first game, so it was great to have him up there and here supporting.
You know, after the bye week, your coach and I think the players felt you'd be a little sharper offensively, but it really wasn't sharp tonight. Why?
I mean, it's just mental breakdowns. I mean, we can't have them penalties. We'll go back in there and look for next week and get things together.
Can you talk a little about your 2 touchdowns tonight?
I mean, it was great scheme. You know, the screen pass and the run. I mean, the offensive line did a great job opening that hole, and I just do what I had to do with it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Corey Ross, back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, John, and great game for Corey Ross tonight. And the Cornhuskers, they survived this game against a very spirited Jayhawk team.
Yeah, a good game, a tough game. 2 very good defenses tonight. Nebraska, obviously, their defense really got put in some bad situations. They held up fine, and then their offense finally got the running game going, got the ball to Corey Ross, and was able to get into the end zone.
Joe Daly tonight, a guy who threw some interceptions but held the team together long enough to get those 2 touchdowns. As we look at the final numbers from this game, the number that counts, of course, the 14-8 final score.
And really, the turnovers by Nebraska, 4 turnovers, really Kansas could not take advantage of them. Kansas had more time of possession. The penalty yards, look at the 13 penalties by Kansas, really hurt them, but give Nebraska a lot of credit. Defensively, they were great. Offensively, they did just enough to win. But for Kansas, those guys, they came in, they ran the ball, and that's what we said they were going to have to do to be in this ball game. They did that. They just could not get into the end zone.
Well, tonight, the storyline here in Lincoln, Nebraska, defense with a capital D. That's what won it for the Cornhuskers here tonight as they keep the streak alive and make it 36 straight against the Kansas Jayhawks. So, for J.C. Pearson and John Kelly and our entire crew here in Lincoln, Nebraska, Dave Armstrong saying so long from Memorial Stadium, where the Nebraska Cornhuskers win it by the final score of 14-8 over the Kansas Jayhawks.